Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Monkey in the Morning. I'm your host, the Ranting Monkey. Wow, we're a lot later than we were yesterday, aren't we? Holy crap. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Thursday to you. Hope you're having a great day. I'm still a little bit tired. I went to bed last night around 7, having been up for about 26 hours at that period. I've been having a lot of trouble sleeping, guys. So the show is even more erratic than usual. I appreciate you guys sticking through me, sticking with me through it, no matter what time I end up going live. You guys are amazing, and I appreciate it. Snubbert starts the show getting a little bit ahead of me there, Snub. Thank you so much. He says, JF is relevant. All right, we're just going to have that kind of show. JF is relevant again, whether his wife got out of her cage or was now a legitimate debate. Yeah, Fugi sent me this stuff early yesterday, and I've been getting a lot of stuff about it since too. JF Garapi, well known for, how do I want to put this, romanticizing the disabled. Apparently his wife has is it his actual wife, or are they just like, we're married because we say we're married? She has disappeared. He's the last known person to have seen her alive. And he was actually asked about this because he says, I dropped her off. And somebody points out, wait, so you were the last one to see her alive? And he goes, no, there were electronic signals after that, but then it's gone completely dark. Yeah, but you were still the last one to actually see her alive. And apparently he's being investigated. So yeah, JF might have killed a potato and, baked himself a little potato and pushed it off to the side of the road somewhere. Thank you, Ragnak. Haha, you expected a reasonable, concise, and informative first donation, but it is me laughing at the cut versus the bringer of horse satisfaction. We'll get to that later. We are going to be watching some of that debate. It's just funny. Cenk Uygur is selling his new book. I forget the name of it. I don't really care. But on the Hasan show to try to peddle his book, and they have just the most wonderfully retarded arguments I've watched in a long time. And Ragnar, thank you. No, my plot has been foiled by slow typing. No, you could have said that was your first donation. See, it still works. It is your first donation. Maybe not the first of the whole show, but still. And good morning, everybody. Hope you're well. I want to start before we get to the Cenk thing, which hopefully will take up most of the show. Seriously, how the hell do you make Cenk Uygur look smart? You put him over there on Hasan Piker's show. That's how you do it. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But first, I want to talk about Aiden Paladin. So I tell you guys, I go to sleep early, and I put out a tweet like, guys, I've been up for 26 hours. I'm going to go to bed, and then we'll do a show. And I wake up to Jim Healis, great friend of the show here, saying, when you wake up, you can listen to Aiden misunderstanding you on stream. Now, I'm just waking up, so fuck it, let's go see what this idiot has to say. And, see, Jim, you're being way, way too kind, because Aiden Paladin didn't misunderstand anything like she did in the conversation, the very short conversation we had. She just flat out lied. The woman cannot help herself but lie. And in this little video we're going to watch, we're going to watch the clip. Do I have the right starting time? I believe I do. So she's on, I don't know what podcast this is or whatever, but they're talking about all kinds of other stuff. And for some reason, they start talking about people who've upset Her Highness. Okay, I'm just being mean right there. I'll stop that. But anyway, my name comes up from this disagreement we had the other day. Now, we're going to listen to this, and then we're going to go over the disagreement, and then we're going to listen to this again and see whether or not she lied or she just she misunderstood. I'm sorry, Jim, I'm not doing that to you, but that would be her claim. I just forgot. That's her favorite. I just forgot. Arguing? What happened? Are they both pining for the same horse? No, what really happened is like I just explained, but the truth is, no matter how dumb you think Cenk is, Hasan is so much worse. The guy is, I don't know how he doesn't drool. But like I said, we'll come back to it because I want to get to people lying about me because I fucking hate liars, especially when they're lying about me. All right, so Aiden is on. I forget who this is, the little dressed up spoon here. But this is the exchange.
Then in ranting monkey.
Yeah. I don't really know Monkey that well. He hangs out, I think, with Sinatra a little bit, and I think that he said something. He was kind of like bitching at me the other day because I got into a little bit of a spat with Jeff Holiday.
No, that's not true. I know I said we'd watch it and then I'll break it down, but no, you weren't in a spat with Jeff Holiday. That's a fucking lie, and I'll show you in a minute. But anyway, I went after her because she got in a spat with Jeff Holiday. No, I went after you because you lied.
But it was just over.
Anger is most associated with estrogen. Really, said that to my face.
I think Randy Monkey probably doesn't like me. I don't really watch a lot of his stuff, but I think he probably doesn't like me because of just like stuff, really, really old stuff from like 5 years ago during the Kraut era. Because I think he was on Kraut's side when Kraut was doing the whole like doxing server shit.
I think he was on Kraut's side when Kraut was doing all the doxing server shit.
Is what I got into the spat with Jeff Holiday about.
All right, that's as much as is important. I was on Kraut's side, and it was because she was arguing with Jeff, making it sound like I came to Jeff's defense here. Who are those two? Aiden Paladin, who was really big in certain portions of the alt-right and some of the anti-SJW circles back in the day. She loved to be seen on these things and arguing for their stuff. Unfortunately, most of the proof of just how despicable she is lost to time because that shit happened on like the Kumite and that stupid shit. It's just gone. Thank you, Snubberth. You definitely weren't on his side. I am aware. And Alan, thank you. Morning, Monkey. Good morning. Appreciate it. So let's start at the beginning. I already told you guys about this the other day, about where this argument started, because to me, it's just, oh, look, it happened. Just don't be a liar. I used it as one of those examples. We talked about it for maybe 5 minutes total. Doesn't the alt-right hate her because she dated black people? There were people that were against the alt-right who were trying to use the fact that she dated black people to make the alt-right not like her. And then magically, the guy who she seriously says this, she said, you can still find this one online. She goes, it's not like he was a Jamal. She says that. She goes, he was really nerdy and smart. It's not like I was dating Jamal. Like, what's wrong with Jamal? That sounds a little racist. Sounds like you're saying, hey, he acted white. Anyhow, so her contention here, look, she was arguing with Jeff Holiday, and I'm you see on the crowd side. So I brought up the actual argument that happened. We'll read through it. I fucking hate liars. Don't fucking lie about me. Or I have to do this kind of shit. So here's the argument. It starts out with the quartering saying, the absolute state of my haters will blow your mind. I've never seen quartering derangement syndrome like this before. Anyway, all coffee at coffee brand coffee, blah, blah, blah. And he shows his stupid shit. And then he shows a clip of a Jeff Holiday stream. Now, I could not find Jeff's full stream. Don't care. Don't need it. We'll get to that in a second. But this clip that he shows starts a little later than it should have.
Bitch, Jeremy, you fucking son of a bitch. You fucking dumbass motherfucker. Listen, this is fucking crazy. Do you hear me? God damn it, Jeremy Hamley. You stupid motherfucker. It's one thing when you have to go out there all the time, out there in the internet, with your horseshit fake fucking coffee company and all this kind of shit. Making this like, ooh, maybe ironic Hitler kind of shit, right? right? This crazy fucking stupid shit, this dog whistly kind of thing, yeah. But then all of a sudden, boom, motherfucker, you're just straight up into straight full-blown fucking Nazism.
All right, that's as much as we need to watch about this, okay? There's a reason Jeff is saying, don't make me defend Jeff Holiday for fuck's sake. The guy's a fucking asshole. But there's a reason he's saying this, and the quartering leaves the context completely out of it. Completely out of it. And we'll come back to that. But this is how Aiden responds. If people have forgotten, remember that, if they've forgotten, she's refreshing your memory. This is to refresh your memory. If you've forgotten, and that's understandable because it's easy to forget about Jeff Holiday, but he was on board with doxing/gay ops against the alt-right back in 2017, which I'm pretty sure included you, but also me, Sargon, and plenty of other people he doesn't like. A lot in that statement that is, well, bullshit. Stubber, thank you. Jeremy may be a grifter, but Jeff wrote the book on selling out. I don't disagree with you there. I'm not standing up for Jeff Holiday here, except for the fact that they lied right here. Jeremy takes what Jeff said, at the very least, does not put all the context. We'll get there, I promise. So I responded to her saying, Jeff's an asshole, and he did defend doxing of certain people, but that's not a reason to lie. He was good friends with Sargon and never singled him out as alt-right during all that crap that happened. And that is just true. It's objectively true. Now, remember, she said she was, in case you've forgotten, she's reminding people. And I pointed out, hey, that was never Sargon. And there's a reason she invoked Sargon, and we'll get to that in a minute. She says, it's been 5 years, and I don't remember everyone who was on the targets list. You started out by saying, if people have forgotten. And remember, you're responding to Jeremy here, even though you said in your video, the one we just watched of you talking to whoever that guy is, you're like, I was responding to Jeff Holiday. No, you weren't. This is the response to Jeremy. Look, you can tell because the line goes straight down. This is directly in response to the quartering. So she's already lied. But suddenly, if people have forgotten, now she's forgotten. How am I supposed to remember? So I simply said, maybe don't get specific if you don't remember. That seems a good idea. If you don't remember and you're like, oh, I think that person might, you know what? I don't remember who was all there, but we do know Jeff was part of that doxing stuff. There you go. That's all you have to say. But instead of going, you know what? You're right. I shouldn't have been that specific. Thank you, Comrade Kitty, who says money just cuz. I appreciate it. She says, I said pretty sure. And I know for a fact I was on their target list of people to dox and deplatform. Ha. This is where you made your biggest mistake, idiot. Thank you, Bubba. It was a stutter, obviously. Of course it was. I said pretty sure. Okay, you did, but you said I'm pretty sure included you. That is in between commas to the rest of the sentence. So let's read the sentence without that little indentation part there. If people have forgotten, and that's understandable because it's easy to forget about Jeff Holiday, but he was on board with doxing gay ops against the alt-right back in 2017, but also me, Sargon, and plenty of other people. So you, Sargon, you mentioned Sargon after you mentioned you, who you just told me you specifically knew was on the list. So you're saying that you think Jeremy might have been on the list, not that you thought that Sargon was. And I said, you said pretty sure that included you. And then you said, but also me and Sargon, by including yourself first, which you just said you knew for a fact. And then Sargon, you're clearly indicating Sargon is not part of that pretty sure. That's how English works. That's how English works. And that is the entirety of the argument. That's the entirety of it right there. Now, it's important to see what was actually going on with Jeff here. Let's move over to this tab. Here's the full video of what Jeff said.
We're having a good stream. Everything's going really good. And then all of a sudden, somebody just has to randomly drop this in my lab. They dropped this in my fucking lab. That Jeremy Hambeast, the fucking quarter pounder quartering, apparently now now is being sponsored by fucking Nazis. Like not like pretending Nazis, right? Like pretending Nazis, like, oh, kind of ironic Nazism or shit like that. No, fucking legit neo-Nazis. Fucking legit neo-Nazis. He's being sponsored by Antelope Hill, who are publishers of neo-Nazi literature. These people are zig-heiling motherfuckers. These are... I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. God, fucking damn it. I'm gonna lose my fucking mind. You know what? God damn it. God, nope, that's the wrong one. There we go.
And this is where Jeremy picks up. He skips all of this stuff about the fact that he absolutely 100% took a sponsorship from a neo-Nazi publishing group. He absolutely did. And I can prove that as well. This is Antelope Hill. For those of you who don't know, this is on the way back machine. They do things like republish the works of actual Nazis. German Nazis. No, not the Ukrainian Nazis, Johnny Blaze. So he goes shirt for... Look, Jeff was being an asshole. Jeff is an asshole. He made a lot. He could have just said, dude, why would you take this? Why wouldn't you look into your publishing or your sponsorships? And the video that this is from a video, when's this back? September 15th, where the quartering, there's your publishing right there. Save 10% on Antelope Publishing with the quartering. And that's all this is about. So she's jumping in to talk about, look, Jeff lies about people, which, I mean, he didn't. When it comes to all the doxing and stuff that went on, the people who were on the alt-right side were alt-right. He's wrong for doxing, absolutely. He's wrong for deplatforming, which, by the way, I called him out before any of you alt-right fuckers did any of that shit. As soon as he came out and said, hey, absolutely, I bullied somebody off the internet. I'm like, whoa, dude. Because actually, he just goes, we bullied that bitch. What was her name? Rage Against the Storm or whatever it was. And I went, dude, did you really just say that you bullied somebody off the internet? And he kind of starts to hem and haw, and he goes, you know what? No, yeah, absolutely, I bullied her off the internet. Like, dude, that's fucked up. And I did that before you guys were worried about your little names getting doxxed because you were a bunch of racist shitheads. Because I don't stand for a side and never fucking has. In fact, the only person I was friendly with anybody in those groups was Jeff. And I called him out specifically. As soon as he said something that made me go, whoa, I called his ass out. You didn't do that when you're sitting next to Coach Red Pill talking about how the alt-right was going to win. And he said the alt-right's going to win because they have the facts on their side. And you went, yup. You never called him out for that. You've made sure most of your alt-right shits have erased from the internet, though. Oh, hell yeah, you have. That's just gone to history. And it's stuff that nobody ever thought to go ahead and save. So it's gone. So take my word for it or hers that she was ever on the actual alt-right train. But either way, here, she's clearly lying about what happened. Didn't you call him out to his face? Yes, I did. Rage After Storm, that was her name. Rage After Storm. What do you call her? Their little Nazi bitch. He was so mad back in those days. So anyway, let's back up. I've just shown y'all what exactly happened. She clearly is responding to Jeremy. I respond to the stupid shit that she says, where suddenly, from being the person who tells everybody how to remember stuff or what they need to remember, she loses her memory. So let's listen in again. Da-da. Let me get it back on the screen. I thought I'd already put it back on the screen before I did that. That's my bad. All right, so here we go. Let's listen to what she says.
Women they have
I was actually a little too far.
When's Aiden going undead chronic? We haven't talked in a minute. I did talk to him a couple weeks ago, but I don't know if he still wants me to come on.
Hey, people have been telling me I should go on his show as well. That and ranting monkey.
Yeah. I don't really know Monkey that well. He hangs out, I think, with Sinatra a little bit, and I think that he said something. He was kind of like bitching at me the other day because I got into a little bit of a spat with Jeff Holiday.
Because she got in a spat with Jeff Holiday.
But it was just over.
Anger
It was
is
just
not
over.
associated with estrogen. Really? Say that to my face.
I think Randy Monkey probably doesn't like me. I don't really watch a lot of his stuff, but I think he probably doesn't like me because of just like stuff, really, really old stuff from like 5 years ago during the Kraut era. Because I think he was on Kraut's side when Kraut was doing the whole like doxing server shit.
On the off chance that Aiden sees this, let me be very, very clear. While it goes back to way back then, it's not even because you were on the alt-right side. I mean, I don't like the fact that you were, and I don't like the fact that you refused to just fucking admit it. Here's the truth. I don't like you because you were a liar then, and as I have just pointed out, you're still a fucking liar. I don't like liars. Maybe just try telling the truth. From your own tweet, where you're like, oh, look, nobody can remember. It was fine. I can't remember. But you have no problem telling an audience of people that I was on Kraut's side and then like went in his doxing stuff. If you want to say I was on Kraut's side because he was against the alt-right, sure. We never hung out. We never spoke. And for the record, I did not approve of any of that doxing shit and said so publicly many, many times. But you're a fucking liar, and that's why I absolutely don't like you. Alan, thank you so very much. Love your integrity. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yes, that was Aiden Paladin. That fucking liar that for some reason everybody thinks is the most genius chick to ever hit the internet. All right, enough of that retarded shit. Just don't lie about me, and we won't have a problem. I'll ignore you. If I talk about you at all, it'll be 2 or 3 minutes of me making fun of you for being a fucking liar. But don't lie about me. I do not. No. Why do people have to lie like that? Hey, yeah, I'd forgotten something and he called me out on it. That's all you had to say. And then it's the end. But no, I think it was with those Kraut people. And I was calling out Jeff Holiday. You were talking to Jeremy. You hadn't said shit to Jeff in that conversation. Not the part that I was a part of. Fucking lying bitch. What's up, Jack? How you doing, man?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good, I suppose.
I heard we're ragging on Aiden Paladin, so here I am.
Actually,
you alt-righter, you.
I was just no, she was the alt-righter. Don't forget that.
Well, yeah, but we're rewriting history in real time, right? Because I mean, she said you were on Kraut's side.
I'm on Kraut's side. Fucking bitch. You know, it's not like I don't have thousands and thousands of hours of what I actually believe out there.
Look, your hate facts have no place here. She doesn't even watch you, so she obviously, since she doesn't remember like 5 years ago, she has a perfect memory of whose side you're on, though.
Well, first she was reminding everybody before she said she didn't have a very good memory of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's how you do things when you're being totally upfront and honest.
Here, let me remind you of this shit that I'm not even sure about.
Yeah. Ugh.
You know, you could ask me. I'm a pretty open book. But anyway, that's all I want to say about that because I really don't want to. I don't want to give it any more attention than it is. Just don't lie about me and we'll be fine. I'll ignore you most of the time. There you
go. Also, that whole thing with it's kind of hypocritical because that whole thing about Kraut and T and his stupid doxing server is why you're not friends with Jeff Holiday and those guys.
It's 100% why I'm not friends with those guys.
So I don't know. I just find it kind of ironic that the Jeff Holiday clip factors into this, and that whole thing with him doxing and bullying people off the internet is why you're not friends with him, but somehow you're on Kraut's side. That makes zero sense.
And like I said, if she said I was on the Kraut side of being against the alt-right, I mean, that's still a really bullshit connection to make. But I'm still against the alt-right and was all along.
Yeah.
But to throw
I remember that era well.
But then to throw in with the doxing server stuff without actually saying I was part of it, but making the link.
Yeah, it's designed to be a little bit of a gaslighting to try and connect you to it, and say that you were somehow involved, which is total bullshit. I was a viewer back in those days, That was just before I started coming on streams with you guys. And yeah, I followed a lot of the people that were involved with that, and I saw exactly how disgusting it was. As you recall, that's how I got my nickname of the motherfucking Jack Cochran.
Jack the motherfucking Cochran, yeah.
Yep. And it was because of stuff like that. And I saw firsthand exactly how those guys acted when they started getting exposed. And you were one of the few people very early on who came out and said, "This is bullshit. You guys need to knock this shit off."
Yep.
They had no regrets. So she could go fuck herself because she's got a long history of standing up for some really sketchy people.
It's hard to find, though, because a lot of it has been lost to history. Real quick, Dark Resurrect, thank you for that feminist $12. I feel like I'm missing some vital lore here. Is there a quick and dirty info dump? Oh. All right. You have the end of the SJW era coming. Not the actual break apart because of the crowd thing, but after the 2016 election, a lot of people in that group separate. They're like, this is done. We need to go, we need to go fight for this or fight for that. And this is when you see the rise of the alt-right coming in these circles on the internet. And you had a whole bunch of people talking about this book called, was it called The Bell Curve?
Yes.
For the race realism bullshit.
Yeah, Bell Curve's a really old book, by the way. That goes back to like the 90s.
And so there were people going back and forth. She brings up Sinatra too, for the record, on stream, because Sinatra would joke about himself being alt-light, but he really was kind of dabbling. And I called him out for it repeatedly, talking about and told him to his face how fucking stupid this shit was. That this nonsense, if I thought for 1 second they were using this to go, hey, we need to help in education for black people, then I'd been like, yeah, fine. And I said so at the time, but that's not what they were doing. They were using this shit to say black people are fucking stupid and can never compete with whites. That's all they were doing. It was racist from the beginning, and I never put up with that shit. Fast forward a little while, and the little camps have broken off, and you have like your JF Garrity over here, the potato lover, and who else was in that? Millennial Woes and Sphinxy, I believe, was one of them who went that way.
Mm-hmm.
He went two ways because he started out one way and then switched over, if I'm remembering correctly. And then you have this other side that's coming against it with the Jeff Holidays and the Krauts. And the crowd decides he is going to put an end to the alt-right. And he makes this Discord server calling the YouTube academics. They were going to get together and make a whole bunch of videos that showed that the alt-right was wrong. And Kraut makes this series of videos that's just scientifically wrong. We're not even talking about the bell curve, just scientifically wrong.
Yeah, the guy didn't even know that fish laid eggs.
Yeah, he talks about pregnant trouts.
Yeah. I dropped the links to some Medicare videos that cover a little bit of this.
Yeah.
So you can watch that. That will help with your understanding. Plus, they're funny as shit. But Medicare did a whole series of videos on Kraut.
But you see the rise of people like Aiden Paladin and Coach Red Pill during this time. And I didn't talk about them very often, except for to rip on them a little bit for being the little alt-right shits that they were. And there's a big breakup that happens between skeptics because the server becomes public, and a lot of us who are even on, the fuck the alt-right side are like, no, you guys should not be out there doxing people. So there's your basic breakdown. And yes, Aiden was one of the ones who was in that server. But for the record, she'd already been doxed. And even though she has claimed that Kraut has doxed her, she's also made a video saying Kraut didn't dox her. So you do the math. I don't know. She's a fucking liar.
She's got some kind of grudge against him because he made her cry, remember?
Yeah.
I'll drop the link to that video too.
They can have their fucking drama, but just don't lie. Don't lie. And I think not only did she lie in her little video clip that we watched, but she also lies in that discussion me and her had there about what went. She's clearly saying that he absolutely called Sargon alt-right. And at this time, Sargon and Jeff Holiday are really good friends. They really are. And so to be like, I mean, Jeff would be, if you were doing this military, he'd be like one of his top lieutenants, one of Sargon's top lieutenants. Like he called him alt-right. No, he fucking didn't. You are just using that to try to make it seem like anybody calling you alt-right would be out of their fucking mind because look, they called Sargon that too. No, just no.
Yeah, I dropped a few of the links. A lot of this stuff is still out on BitChute. You just gotta dig for it. Like dropped the last one was Aiden Paladin on race realism, racial IQ, and RK selection with millennial woes. So some of the stuff does still exist. You just have to dig for it, and it's all going to be out on BitChute. Yep. Other people backed it up, but there's not a lot of it still around,
unfortunately. But again, I don't want to talk about this any more than this. But just to be clear, Aiden, I don't like you because you're a liar. There you go. There's your clip right there. I don't like you because you're a liar.
I don't think about. I forgot she was still on the internet, so I don't pay attention to this chick at all.
Yeah, the only reason I saw her the other day is because I do follow Jeremy, and I saw this video from Jeff Holiday, and I see right underneath it what Aiden said. And I'm like, that's stupid. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're lying. Because that's what Aiden Paladins do. Hey, Nuts, good morning, sweetheart. Now, Jack, I want to get into this because it's a lot more fun for me. Hassan Piker hosted his uncle Cenk Uygur on his Twitch show yesterday, I think. And oh boy, is it a meeting of the minds.
Oh God. Oh, real quick. Thank you, Alan, who says, morning, Jack. Morning, Alan. Thanks for the generous donation, man. Appreciate it. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah. As it says in the title, you actually make Cenk look smart, Hassan.
That's impressive.
I do not understand why anybody listens to Hassan Piker other than to laugh at him. I get it. A lot of his audience is like between the ages of, I think it's 12 and 18. So they're young and dumb, and maybe he sounds smart to them. But seriously, this guy is fucking retarded. And he is one of the most influential political pundits on YouTube. Or sorry, on the internet, on social media. Hassan Piker is one of the most influential pundits on social media. Kind of hurts my soul a little bit, Jack.
Deep down on some visceral level, it does make me both irritated and ashamed of the internet. But I mean, what are you gonna do?
Well, as I said, the only reason to watch him is to make fun of him. So that's what I'm gonna do.
Oh wait, do they shave each other in this?
No.
Both really hairy dudes.
It is funny. I could have included it, but right before this, Hassan is of course up and away from his chair. But in fairness to him, this time, it's because he hit the ad break. You can do that on videos, ad break time, and he gets up to go pee. And while he's gone, there are people who can still watch you when there's not ad break or despite ad breaks. So what they would have been looking at is just his empty chair while the ad played for people who aren't subscribed to him. So Cenk, being an actual, whatever you think about Cenk, the guy does run a show. He's like, well, we can't have this dead air, so he does an ad for himself during it. He pushes he promotes his book, and he promotes TYT. It's funny as shit. And Hassan comes back and goes, look at this guy doing an ad break and an ad break. And Cenk's like, yeah, well, I couldn't just not do anything. There's people watching.
That's how he runs his entire thing. I mean, watching other people's content and
which is, I thought about that too. This guy just does nothing but watch other people's content anyway. So I don't feel bad about watching his. Fuck you, Hassan. You're a piece of shit and really stupid. Anyhow, so they're going to talk about crime, Jack. There's several pieces. There's part of it where they discuss the trans thing. And it's really interesting because Cenk Cenk and him both agree. What's up?
The trans thing. You mean the feminine penis?
No. The argument about trans rights and specifically trans in sports.
Oh, well, that's disappointing. I wanted to watch these two sit around and talk about woman dick for a half hour.
They start off talking about the bathroom thing, and the conservatives, they just blew that all out of proportion. Let's talk about what really happened with the trans bathroom debate. That started because of schools. And a whole bunch of companies like Target, they're like, we'll let trans people use whatever bathroom. That's fine. It's your business. Do what the fuck you want to do. But it was the liberals who take all of that shit to distract from the fact what we're talking about is what happens in Loudoun County. Protecting children in schools and being like, no, you got a penis, you go in the boys' room. You don't get a butt rape girls in the girls' room. That's what really happened with that whole debate. So they talk about that. And Cenk is trying to point out that it's absolutely asinine for the left to come after him and Anna for things like saying, hey, in professional sports, which, by the way, Cenk, you're wrong. That should be in high school sports too. But in professional sports, you don't need women competing against men. It's inherently unfair. And Hasan said this. Oh, very few people said that. Like, what? And then he goes on to say, it was the mainstream media who called you a horse fucker.
What?
I didn't see that anywhere in the mainstream media. Unless we're mainstream now.
I guess we are.
He doesn't give a source, by the way, because he's Hasan Piker.
Yeah, well, sources.
But Hasan is trying to make the point. We should just ignore all this. And Cenk says this. He goes, we talked about it for 3 minutes. It was you and your friends who talked about it for hours and hours and hours and hours.
Hate fact.
And he's like, well, no. And so Cenk says to him, he goes, did you call out people like Lance, what's his name? The Serfs. Did you call out the Serfs for how much they talked about this? And instead of responding to that, Hasan just sidesteps it completely. He's like, no, I'm talking to you about you shouldn't do it. That 3 minutes you did compared to the thousands of hours we did. How dare you?
Yeah, how dare you call us out? Just because you're right.
Yeah. So again, how do you make Cenk look smart? You put him next to this retard.
I do not understand the attraction with Hasan Piker. I really do not understand why people watch that tard.
Well, like I said, if it's for the lulz, it's absolutely worth it.
I guess.
He has some of the best unintentional comments. Asking for a source, monkey. That's just sea lioning. How dare you? God damn it, Kobe. I got a cue. Do you know what sea lioning is?
I've heard that term, but I've not looked up the specific definition. Isn't that when you're trying to, how dare you try and actually do your job as the source stuff?
No, well, kind of. Sea lioning is like, let's say you say something and I ask you a question, and then I just keep asking you question after question after question after question instead of addressing anything.
Why would you want to do that?
So I made the comment today about how the Democrats had fucked up with the way they handled the ouster of Kevin McCarthy. If they back McCarthy, they have him by the balls for the rest of his tenure because all they have to do is go, fuck with us and we will get with the Freedom Caucus and kick you out.
Yeah.
And that's what I said. And this chick comes back with some random statement. I forget even what it was, but it was, I honest to God didn't understand. And I said, can you expand on that? And this idiot's like, sea lioning. Like, I asked a question.
One question is all it takes to trigger a dum-dum.
And honestly, I'll say, could you elaborate? And like, sea lioning. It was amazing the number of Democrats I ran into today who, because I said Democrats handled this poorly, like, how dare you say that? Like, because I'm smart.
Yeah, because they absolutely did. I think they made a mistake. And I like how, by the way, I've been listening to pundits all day today because my dad loves this shit.
Sure.
And I had to explain to him what was going on with Gates and that because he wasn't following any of that shit. But almost everybody was like, and the Freedom Caucus joined the Democrats. No, No, the Democrats joined the Freedom Caucus.
Yes.
Because the Freedom Caucus is who put this shit up. Therefore, they're the ones that initiated it. Gates filed this. So the Democrats joined them.
Yes. And
do not get that backwards.
This is part of the Republican argument, and that we saw it during the floor debate yesterday about how you're giving power to the Democrats. Like, no. The people who got power out of that was the Freedom Caucus.
Yeah.
The Democrats could have taken power there by supporting McCarthy.
Oh,
That's
absolutely. But they didn't. They're dumb. But I was really disappointed in a lot of people today listening to these really lazy hot takes about how you should all be a unimind.
Mess says, but Pelosi promised McCarthy that she'd protect him. I don't know if that's true or not, but I said this yesterday. If Pelosi was there, they would have voted for McCarthy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Pelosi is smart enough to understand that. Hakeem Jeffries is not. Hakeem Jeffries was just like, he pulled what all the press and them are saying. They just sat back and watched them implode. They're still in power. McCarthy said that. Pelosi said that. Again, that's the smart play from the Democrats. They would have him by the balls because at any time that he crossed them, they're like, hey, Freedom Caucus, what do you think about replacing this shitbag? And they gave that away. So anyway, there's been a lot of bad punditry on what happened with this thing. I do also want to point out that yesterday I told you guys the most likely candidate for this would be Steve Scalise. And the only reason I backed off of that is because somebody said, he's dealing with cancer. Oh, I could see that. Guess who announced he was running for speaker?
Steve Scalise.
Steve Scalise, and Jim Jordan is the other one.
Mm-hmm.
And Jordan is probably the more populist candidate. He's absolutely the more populist candidate. Scalise is probably the more likely one to get the speakership where we stand now.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think I don't want Speaker Jordan, and not because I think he'd do a horrible job at it, but I think he needs to be on the committees where he's asking the tough questions, and the speaker just doesn't do that. The speaker has a much more hands-off role in that kind of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how that does play out. But just want to say it. Told you so. By the way, a whole bunch of people who don't know shit about politics were telling me how wrong I was about politics today. Huh. Is that wrong? Should I not be bragging like that?
No, it was just disappointing to see so many people bitching and moaning, giving these really lazy hot takes about how this is all about Gates's ego.
Yeah.
I was so sad to hear that shit. It was pathetic. Like, you guys aren't paying attention to what was said at all. And a lot of them clearly did not watch the vote.
Yeah.
Where they were all talking. It was pathetic. And they're like, oh, he's raising money off this. Yeah, that's what politicians do, dumb shit. They all raise money. And I saw Nancy Mace getting grilled on CNN by those assholes. And then a bunch of people giving their lazy hot takes on that, too. I'm like, you guys are idiots. Why are so many people stupid?
Team politics, team sports.
Yeah, but if they were really team sports, they would realize McCarthy's a fucking rhino shill who just does what his lobbyists want, and he bends over backwards to give Biden more fucking money for Ukraine.
Well,
it's just enraged me.
It's actually kind of funny because with some of these people who are making these comments and stuff, if you go back just to this last weekend, you'll see them calling him a rhino.
Yeah.
Talking about those rhinos in Congress. How could they do this to us? Oh, no, he's a great speaker.
Yeah. Oh, we got to keep him because party unity. No, if he's not doing what he promised to do, which is why they ousted him, it's clearly a problem because he's going behind people's backs and making secret deals. Yeah. That's not cool, man. That's not cool. Why are you protecting this piece of garbage who's not doing what he promised to do? What's the draw there? What, blind unity?
Yes.
Look, Republicans tend to be much more individualistic people that work on a team, whereas Democrats are a goddamn hive mind. So because they're communists mostly. So they all have the same thought pattern. There's not a lot of differentials there. So why would you want that for the Republicans? Wouldn't you want people calling out the people they don't like in their own party? Are they supposed to stand up for every scumbag that comes across? No, that's stupid. Half the time you're saying, no, that guy's not doing a good job. But then as soon as your little rhino buddy gets booted out, you're all whining about it. Shut up. Sorry, that really.
No, you're fine. My favorite thing I saw today was that the reason that they needed to keep McCarthy is because he was a good fundraiser after the whole thing about how dare Matt Gaetz fundraise off this.
Yeah. Yeah, Gingrich had some really shitty takes on this. Like, dude, you're a rhino too. Shut up. Just because you pulled off a similar coup in the Republican Party in the 90s doesn't mean you can pull that ladder up behind you, okay?
Yeah, it's been being said through there. He never should have been speaker in the first place. This was destined to happen. Thank you, Cenk Uger. Says sing it. I'm sorry, I am not. I'll sing Happy Birthday if it comes up, but I'm not singing right now. But says and it sings Horsecock, and I'm gonna not. We do always reserve the right not to read stuff, and with YouTube these days, if you guys want to know what that is, Sinatra does does he still do that? I haven't seen the show in a long time.
I haven't seen him do it in a while, probably because of YouTube's recent restrictions. They're tightening down because it's election season, so there are some things we have to dance around.
But thank you for the donation. I really, really do appreciate it.
I'll find the link to the song and drop it because that song's funny as shit.
All right, let's get into these two retards discussing the police and crime.
What were we going to talk? Oh, defund the police. Okay, issue with messaging overall. Another great issue because you and I have duked it out on our famous Thanksgiving specials that we do, where you come here.
Can you imagine spending your Thanksgiving watching these two?
No, that sounds horrifying.
I gotta finish Thanksgiving dinner quick. A retard's talking to a slightly less retarded retard.
Yeah.
And we argue about issues that we have disagreements on, genuine disagreements on. One of them is crime, right? Not to say that like I like crime and I think crime is awesome. I jokingly do say that from time to time, but ultimately nobody fucking wants crime.
Especially not in his very fancy neighborhood, Jack. He against that whole crime thing here in the rich area of town.
Yeah, keep that the po people. Ugh, you dirty pores.
We might have a disagreement on how to solve that problem, right? Now, you brought up defund the police. So I would like to hear your position on that. And before I, get into my monologue.
Okay. So first of all, it's the world's worst framing and framing.
Ding, ding, ding. Cenk is absolutely right here. Defund the police it's almost like Black Lives Matter. It is just the worst framing of an argument. Now, the reason that becomes the chant line is because there literally were people who wanted to defund the police. Actually defund it, not, restructure, none of that shit that they tried to turn it into. It actually started as a defund movement. And they're like, but no, that's not what we really mean.
Then why were you framing it that way? It wasn't repurpose, restructure, retrain, anything like that. It was defund. And in some cases, they tried to outright ban the cops. Look at Minneapolis with their obliteration of the police force stuff they were trying to push through.
Yep.
Framing matters because it gets into people's heads and leaves the impression of who you are as a movement.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I talk to people who are in favor of defunding the police, the very first thing they usually say is, no, I don't really mean defund the police. Then why did you call it that?
Look, I realize this is Cenk and that might have just hurt your head because he said something intelligent, but it does happen from time to time, for the record.
Yeah. Plus, isn't he running for office to be like a senator or something?
He's running for president. Well, he said he was thinking about running for it. I don't know if he's officially committed or not.
Thank you, Keldrick. Joking. Sure, Hasan. Sure. And Cenk doesn't want to fuck horses. I think mostly Cenk wants to pleasure them, is the way he put it. Like, it's okay to pleasure animals.
What he said is it was okay to have sex with animals as long as you're doing it for their pleasure. And then in another case, because there's 2 videos of him doing this, that he says that in one of them, and in the other one, they're actually discussing a case of bestiality. And he says he doesn't really see what the problem was because the animal got off. Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. So that's what he actually said. And it's very hard to find those videos unless you watch this show.
Yeah.
So don't call it that at all.
What would you message it as?
So look, it depends on what you're trying to do. So for example, and I believe in, as I think you, but we do have real substantive disagreements too. But I believe in criminal justice reform. I believe the cops' training is completely wrong. They're taught only protect yourselves. Don't worry about the citizens, etc. Are there racial issues? Of course there are. Are there class issues? Of course they are. So I would want massive reform, and I would want the messaging to be around reform, which the great majority of Americans actually agree with.
As you were just saying, Jack, if what you mean is reform, then that's what you should say, reform. Don't say defund the police, because it sounds like you're saying take all the money away from the police, because that's what defund means. Again, I hate saying that Cenk is right because the guy's a fucking idiot, but he's right. And Mr. Hasan here is, just a retard.
Yeah.
Again, 2/3 of the country is progressive. They agree with us.
Wait.
What?
Americans actually agree with. Again, 2/3 of the country is progressive. They agree with us.
2/3 of the... Okay, so here's one of those points where Cenk is being Cenk. Jack, I went and looked. This is Gallup. Not exactly a right-wing source. This is from January of last year. U.S. political ideology steady. Conservatives, moderates tie. And if you come right down here, conservatives and moderates still tie as the largest ideological groups. Liberals. This is not even just progressives. This is liberals. Smallest group at 25%. That's from Gallup. That's not, OAN doing a study.
Yeah.
2/3 do not listen to that shit when they try telling you that to make you feel like you're in the minority, because that is a propaganda technique. Everybody disagrees with you. That works on a lot of people who really, really are desperate for attention and inclusion.
Yeah. Well, when you surround yourself with a particular type of people and don't listen to outside voices because they're fascists, then you're going to think everybody is like you.
Wouldn't Bernie Sanders have been president then? Yes, he would have.
By a landslide.
By a huge landslide. About 2-1.
Yeah.
Don't drive them away with bad messaging. Okay. When people hear defund the police, they hear there's not going to be any cops and they panic. And again,
that's because that was the messaging when it started. It
absolutely
was get rid of police.
From the majority of the time, I would say there were activists out there saying we don't want any cops.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until much later in the movement that they started, when they saw how unpopular it was, that they started dialing it back a little.
Yeah, suddenly like, no, it doesn't mean defund the police when we say defund the police. Well, okay, I guess.
Then why are you trying to use that phraseology, dummy?
It's white folks that panic. It's not just right wingers that panic. Ilhan Omar almost lost her seat in a primary because 78% of African Americans in her district did not want to defund the police.
And that wasn't exclusive to Ilhan Omar. That was a statistic that came out across the country. Black people were like, fuck no, we want more policing in our areas. That's part of our problem, is that we don't have enough.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised Cenk pointed that out, because that's something that people don't really talk about, as to why they shifted their language. And it would have been hilarious if Ilhan had been ousted by a bunch of poor black people who are like, fuck you. We need those cops.
Here's a dirty little secret that some people may not like me saying. Cenk is not as dumb as he's made out to be.
He just says really stupid stuff.
Yes,
he's not a stupid person.
He knows a lot of statistics and stuff, and will use. I mean, he's absolutely wrong about the progressive thing. 2/3 of America are no, they're not. Shut up. Maybe by the 1960s standards, sure, but by modern standards, absolutely not. But there are a lot of places where he'll tell you. I mean, like, yes, most of Ilhan Omar's black constituents did not want this, but that's because it supports his argument. His problem is always when it gets to opinion time. He's got really bad opinions based on the facts, and he'll just ignore facts that he doesn't like. Here, this fact makes his point for him, Jack. If it didn't show that, if it showed instead that 75% of black people in Ilhan Omar's constituency wanted to defund the police, he would not have brought that up. He's crafty.
Yeah, I maintain that he's one of those smart, dumb guys. Like, he's kind of an idiot, but he does know his stuff. He just uses it to his own advantage.
Yeah.
I maintain that he's like almost like idiot savant levels of.
He's a propagandist.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what he is.
And he looks smelly.
It's just a matter of propaganda that if you want effective propaganda, people need to be able to look up what you said and go, oh, he was right. So, like, looking up the statistic of how many African Americans, black people in Ilhan Omar's district didn't support this, that now people can look like, oh, see, look, he's right. Where he takes it from there is where, you got to have some fact if you want to swindle people. Just enough.
Yeah, that's true.
So how about this? Here's my reframing. And this works with a lot of like liberals that I talk to, at least, rich and poor.
You don't talk to poor people.
What, the guy at the grocery store that you just blather to for a minute? No, dude, you don't talk to poor people, you liar.
Hasan won't talk to people like on his show unless they have at least a close following to him.
Yeah.
Hey,
this
police,
dude lives in an enclosed enclave.
Liberals that I talk to, at least, rich and poor. Hey, police, do your fucking job. Is that good?
That's actually,
and nobody would have had a problem with that. Hey, police, do your job. The argument there would have been they were in most of these cases that, the damn police hate the black people. They shot that chick who was trying to stab that other chick. That was him doing his job. He stopped the murderer from killing somebody. So he's right. This would have been better messaging. It would have fallen flat because most of the time it didn't apply.
Look, your hate facts have no place here.
Is that better?
Really good, and I talk about that all the time.
Okay, listen. Here's the issue, though. Right, with defund the police. As far as messaging goes, and as far as optics goes, you yourself have basically created an argument that you are not using in this situation. You said the media is all too powerful in manipulating public consciousness, and they can change people's attitudes for the better, even if it's entirely at odds with the material realities and the oppressive constructs built on top of those material realities. If that is the case, then optics issues are simply an issue caused by the media not pushing the message enough.
All right. It takes them a really long time to get to the point, and it is a good point. But before we get to it, I do want to point out, I don't know if you see this in the background there, Jack, right behind Hassan's head. It's a giant poster of Obama meeting with Queen Elizabeth, and there's X's in Queen Elizabeth's eyes.
Yeah, that's creepy as shit. I thought that was the judge from the Trump trial, just hanging out in the background.
Yeah, no. That's edgy humor in Hassan's world.
Yeah.
Haha, Queen's dead.
I'm funny and original. Love me. Oh, thank you, Joe Biden, who says, did I hear her correctly? Are we smelling people? I want in. Joe's always down for a good sniffing.
Rogue Thought asks, optics for what? Anything. In this case, they're talking about the defund the police thing. But in general, just optics for anything are controlled by the press. That is true. What isn't mentioned by Hasan here is that the progressives that they talk about are the press. They push their side's narrative. They always have. And they've gotten much more open about it since 2016, actually 2015. Starts in 2008, if we're being honest, with the election of Barack Hussein Obama.
Yeah, but it really ramped up because of Trump.
But yeah, all optics are, it's the whole thing with there were no scandals during Obama because the press wouldn't talk about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is 100% true that the messaging that is decided for us largely comes from our press.
Yeah, I'm once again going to point out this all goes back to the book Propaganda by Edward Bernays and his follow-up book Crystallizing Public Opinion. They're using those tactics to try and deceive people by selectively choosing what to broadcast instead of giving you both sides.
100%. But it also ignores the fact that the press doesn't come up with these talking points. Defund the police wasn't a media talking point until they found it and like, hey, let's push this one.
Yeah. They're like, this is super progressive.
Yeah. All right. So he's pointed out that Cenk isn't taking that into account.
Is that what you're saying? So if in a future where MSNBC is truly progressive, that they could just be like,
MSNBC is not truly progressive, Jack. I mean, if you want to be honest and just call them commies, I'll go with that. But
Yeah,
that's
well,
what you guys call progressive. So,
unfortunately, I know some really progressive people. My Facebook page is littered with them. That's why I don't
Sure.
go on there. One of the many reasons. With that, I'm suspended again. But this is actually something that they think CNN is right wing.
yeah.
If you're far enough left, MSNBC is corporate shills because they're just not going hard enough on the real issues.
Bubba says fiery but peaceful totally wasn't optics for defund the police. Yeah.
Yeah. No, unfortunately, that's a really common hot take. And you see it a lot with especially like middle class and upper class lefties that don't get out much. Like they don't have to see what their beliefs cause.
I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Togonix, I think, says, wasn't MSNBC the channel with "It's Our Job to Tell People What to Think" incident? Yes. Mia Brzezinski, or whatever the hell her name is, over there on Morning Joe.
defund the police is actually fucking super sweet. Let's go forward. Do you think people would be on board with it?
No, because it's mixed. So yes, media pushes the message, but the message itself is also important. So if you had the message of kill all people, that would not work well, even if MSNBC pushed it to ad nauseum, right? And defund the police is such a fundamentally wrong framing.
You think defund the police is a message as aggressive and as wrong as like kill all people? No.
I gave an extreme example, so not all examples are the same.
See, but this comes up in argument all the time. Sometimes it is informative to take an argument and make it ludicrous, to point out how ludicrous even the lesser argument is. And that's what Cenk did there with the kill all people thing.
Yeah.
But Hasan, being a student of destiny, don't forget, we have Hasan more because of destiny than we do because of TYT. You know that, right?
Yeah.
So as a student of destiny, he pulls on to the, oh, you think it's the same as kill all people? That's not what I'm saying, retard. I really wish Cenk would have just looked at him and go, that's retard. Retard, shut up just for a second. Let me finish the point. But Cenk was too nice because apparently, they have family reunions and stuff.
But I think defund the police is almost as bad a message as you could possibly find, because it leaves the impression that there will be no police, 100%. No safety.
God damn it. And that's because guys, you've heard me yelling true lately. It's because I've been watching Destiny videos and he yells it all the time and stuck in my brain now. I got to figure out something else. Like, booyah! How about something like that?
How about correct?
How about cunnilingus? I'll just yell out cunnilingus when somebody's right.
How about fact?
Fact. Well, Destiny does that one too.
Yeah, other people did that first though.
I know, but I told you this last night off stream. A lot of the times it pops up in the internet lexicon because of him. He'll grab onto something somebody else is doing, and that's how it becomes a thing. And it drives me nuts. That's right. Yeah, there you go. I'll go, that's right.
Oh,
but then I feel like I'm stealing from the audience.
Yeah, that's kind of what understatements thing.
Correctamundo. How about that?
Oh, yeah, or cowabunga, or I don't know. I'm sure you'll figure something out that'll be first slightly adorable, then moderately annoying.
It's like when I was binging Matt Christensen, and suddenly I couldn't stop saying always.
Yeah, that motherfucker. He's really good at getting that earworm in.
Oh God! And
I would say he's way more catchy than Destiny, but
100%. Yeah.
A lot of people say true or fact. I didn't see that with Destiny because I don't fucking watch Destiny, but a lot of the commentators I watch say the same thing, just for brevity.
All right. Anyway, what he just said is true. That's all I was getting at.
Yeah.
And it freaks people the fuck out. That's a fact, and it's shown in every.
And it wasn't just that it freaked people out; it's that they believe that when you said defund police, you meant defund police because words should have meaning.
Should, but feminine penis, dude.
And it wasn't that he keeps saying freak out, and that is a propaganda thing there. It wasn't that people were freaking out. People were going, "Are you fucking insane?"
Yeah, I would say they were more concerned. Because until they actually execute that, people don't really freak out. Freak out would be more like, taking to the streets shooting criminals kind of thing.
Okay. Defund the police means what? Reallocate some of these ballooning police budgets to social safety nets and social programs, because that's where crime starts.
Which would be defunding the police. And this is what we were just talking about, Jack, where that's not how it started out. It started out, take all money from the police. And then they started, no, what we mean is some social programs. And he's even doing a bit of revisionist history here too. Because it wasn't, hey, let's get more midnight basketball. What they were saying is, take the money from the police and give it to social workers so that they can go to police calls. So they can get shot instead of police officers. We need to have the right group responding. So when a wife calls in and says that her husband beating the shit out of her, what we really need to do is send in a marriage counselor instead of the police. That's what they were arguing for. And now he's like, no, social programs to stop crime from ever happening in the first place. No, that's bullshit. That is, I hate liars. And this is why the whole defund thing never worked, is because they couldn't agree on messaging to begin with. Plus, it's a dumbass idea.
And that's the best mechanism to combat certain types of crime, at the very least. Okay.
So that's where we get into substance.
So you don't agree with the policy, not just the optics. Let's just clarify that.
Yeah. So now the optics, I 100% disagree. When it comes to policy, it's much more nuanced. And by the way, if people don't like nuance, then you're not going to like me at all. Because you're, oh no, I want a black and white world. I want everything to be extreme. No, I'm not that guy. So
and in fairness to Cenk, that is true. I've actually had to give Cenk credit many times from his show where he said stuff that nobody else on the left will say. Just like, yeah, we fucked up here. We did this wrong. Like, hear the messaging. I don't like Cenk. I think if you watch him on a regular basis and take in what he says, you're going to come out retarded. Mm-hmm. But he is absolutely true when he says he's more nuanced than people like Hasan.
Yeah, that's why he actually kind of stood up for Anna when she said she didn't watch the video of what happened to Rittenhouse until the trial. So she got a lot of shit for that, but
there's a nuance coming. So if you say to me, should we reform the police, reform the training? Obviously, as I said earlier, I say yes, right? Say, let's reallocate some of the funding, social services. We keep the same amount of money, but move some of it from cops.
I don't think they should keep the same amount of money.
Okay, hold on. We'll get to that in a second.
Because Hasan's an idiot. I don't think they should keep the same amount of money. They're underfunded, fucker. Right now, Jack, there's a police shortage across the country. The all of the candidates, including Biden, have talked about the need to get more police on the streets, as a consequence of what they did in 2020. And this city is like, no, we need less money. No, we need more. And better. Cenk is right about better trained police. Watch Audit the Auditors and you will see we need better trained police. God, Jack, did you see that one where they took that fucking handicapped dude out of a Target and arrested him because he was taking too long checking out?
Yep.
Holy shit. The guy's clearly retarded. And yeah, they broke all kinds of laws with that.
Yeah. And they deserve to all be fired for it because they shouldn't have been cops to begin with because they make bad judgment calls.
Ebony, it's a channel called Audit the Auditors. There's a group of people who go around. Now, for the record, not everybody highlighted on this channel are the people I'm about to describe. But there's people who call themselves auditors, and they'll go around and purposefully piss off the police, piss off city employees, and try to get them on camera, mostly breaking the First Amendment. And a lot of the videos are these guys, and I'm with you, Jack. I don't support those guys. If there's a few that I do, where like if they're just recording outside of a police station and they're just to inform the police, hey, you guys are getting this wrong, fine. But they're always dicks about it.
Yeah, they go about it in the because most of them are anti-cop. We have to be honest about that.
Yes.
And they're out there to try and antagonize the police by basically hiding behind the First Amendment or the Fourth Amendment or whatever. But yeah, they're out there to be kind of obnoxious dickbags half the time. But they're not entirely wrong. They're just going about it in the worst possible way more often than not. Some of those guys are really fucking dumb. Because there's ways to do it where you're not trying to get yourself arrested.
And then there's other videos that Audit the Auditors do where they're just watching police body cam footage.
Yeah.
And those are the ones I really like because there's no agenda on the side of the cameraman. It's the police's own footage. And in this case, it's this handicapped guy who's just trying to check out at the self-checkout. He's mentally disabled. And when they first come across him, if they thought he was drunk, I could see that. But as it goes on, like, come on, this guy's clearly retarded. He's mentally disabled, and you guys are treating him like the worst scum ever. They're just, it's such a horrible video to watch. But the point,
I've dropped the links to their channel.
Oh, thank you.
Audit, and I'm dropping the Rumble link right now for them. They have a Rumble channel with almost no followers. So
yeah, I really like their channel. And I think because there's other people who do this audit the auditing thing. What he does is at the end of the video, he grades everybody involved in the video. For the most part, I think he's honest about it. He's a little bit too nice to some of the auditors.
Yeah, I would say he's a little overly generous to the auditors occasionally. Because really, a lot of them would get their point across by shutting the fuck up.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah.
But, yeah.
But you will see on that channel just police who need training. A lot of police who need training.
Mostly on constitutional rights. And a lot of this stuff is like well known, like recording in public. They try and shut people's cameras off and take them. That's been settled law for several years now. You think
decades.
You would have gotten a message.
It's been settled for decades.
Yeah.
It gets resettled every now and then, but yeah, it's not even questioned. But there's a lot of police who are like, you can't record. The one that's coming to mind is this guy. He's recording this police complex. I forget what city it's in. And these two police come up to him like, how dare, what are you doing? You can't do this. And he's like, really? Call your sergeant. And so the sergeant comes out and he's like, you have a nice day, sir. You two, get away from him.
Yeah. That one was pretty funny. But unfortunately, they're not, depending on your jurisdiction, they're not actually required to call the sergeant in a lot of places.
Sure.
So you could say, get me your sergeant, and they'll be like, no, fuck off. Yep. And they'll take what you're saying as a delay tactic, and they'll escalate things. So
and Rogue Thought points out defunding can hurt that training. It's 100%. It will hurt that training.
Well, that's why I have a problem with the Atlanta thing with the Stop Cop City. Yeah. Because they're trying to stop a training facility that might correct a lot of these problems. Because they don't want to fix the problem. They just want to bitch. and that you can't complain if you fix the problem.
As you said a moment ago, a lot of people, and again with the Antifa, they're just against police in general.
Yeah, absolutely. But they don't understand that in an actual anarchy, people like Antifa would not be protected, and they would be the first to die because they're a bunch of scrawny people, mostly kid diddlers, from what I've seen.
Scrawny guys and fat chicks do not make a good revolutionary movement.
No, they are useful idiots who will help you start a revolution before you gun them down for being traitors.
Some of it is social services.
Oh, real quick, thank you, Snubbers. What's more creepy, a guy walking around his apartment wanking or an outraged neighbor logging every time he wanks it? This happened in Chicago, and they can't touch the guy because he's in his apartment.
Yeah, something similar happened to a family. I don't remember where it was, but this dude was walking around naked in front of a big picture window. And people complained about it because there was a school bus stop, and they kept trying to sue the guy and all that. None of it worked because he's in his home.
Yeah. Look, the masturbator's clearly more creepy there, but again, this is your personal property. Don't look. I know that's not the answer people want to hear, but you can't really call it public exhibitionism when you're in your home.
Yeah, not every creepy, weird thing is a crime. It's just somebody being a weirdo. Usually the neighbors sort that out through extrajudicial means.
Yeah. Homeowners Association. Remember when Matthew McConaughey got arrested? And they made the big deal. He got arrested. He was playing bongos naked. Yeah, in his house. I don't care that he was playing bongos naked.
Yeah,
if you're in your own home and you're not in front of a picture window and you're just, I don't want to wear clothes today. I don't give a shit. That's not a crime.
No, what people do in their homes generally, none of your business. You don't get to have it both ways,
I do think as a person, you should be like, I won't be flaunting my wang in front of a big window on the side of my house that's facing Main Street.
Yeah, that's called decorum. It's a lost art these days.
You're just a degenerate who wants people to look at your wiener.
Yeah, you're
all right.
Because they can handle X better. I'm open to that. I'm totally open to that. Okay.
So it's a semantics difference. You're saying like keep the same amount of money.
Fuck.
So that's like a semantics difference. I've heard that word.
What Cenk just said is if you want to put more money into social funding, social services kind of stuff, that's fine. But don't take it from the police and go, oh, so that's semantics? That's not what that word means.
Not at all.
Semantics would be, look, I don't agree with taking it from here and putting it here. I think we put it over here and it still goes there, but not in name only. That would be more a semantical argument. He's not talking about doing it in name only. He's talking about completely different funding, you retard.
Hassan's not smart, dude.
You need semantics?
I think you gotta say that with a little more drool, like it's semantics, yay!
You're his uncle. Smack him in the back of the head.
Right?
He's a grown-ass adult. You're not doing it to a child. Just stop it, stupid.
It's for his own good, so he doesn't accidentally date JF Garrity.
Delphin says, look, Uncle Chunk, I can use big words like a grown-up.
I got big boy word.
No, but don't defund it.
Okay, first of all, semantic difference is a giant difference, as we just discussed. Optics, framing, etc., makes a huge difference. But when you get into the substance,
it doesn't matter.
There are some things I disagree with.
But you don't.
So
but you don't agree with the policy anyway. You don't agree with the policy of like our ballooning police budgets year over year have not actually genuinely improved the lives or genuinely fucking put a dent in like in fixing some of the pervasive problems. You don't agree with that.
No.
Okay. Several different subjects there. Holy crap. And I don't know. I haven't watched all this. I haven't watched this part of it, Jack. So I don't know what gets said going forward. But when it comes to things like, well, we give him more money and it hasn't helped the crime thing. Well, look at some place like Portland. where even if the police are doing their best in arresting everybody, how many charges got dropped at one time? 5,000?
Yeah. The DA of Multnomah County dropped around 5,000 charges. It was probably more than that. We only found out about 5,000.
You have people like Bragg up there in New York going, hey, even if they commit a major felony and they have a gun on them, we're not really going to charge them for it. We're just going to call it a misdemeanor. You can't blame all of that on the police and the police funding. Thank you, Mighty Balzac. Is that his hair or a very scruffy beanie? No, that's his hair. Somebody finally convinced him that homeless hair he was rocking there for a while to cut that shit because it made him look like he was 40 and living in the street. And no. And Hasan is very vain. Very vain. Actual Justice Warrior talks about cases like that. There's a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
So here's what happened. So if you'd asked me that a couple of years ago, I probably would have agreed with that. And then we did in some places reallocate some of the money or cut some of the money.
Like in Minnesota.
Yep.
Remember they did that, and they came out like 2 or 3 months later and went, whoops, our bad.
We're giving the money back. We're giving the money back.
That was Minneapolis, right?
I think it was Minneapolis.
So it's a little bit misleading in places like Washington, D.C., because they took from one budget and moved it to another budget, etc. But the bottom line is they did lose a number of cops in a bunch of cities.
True.
Okay, they lost raw number of cops.
Yeah, we've talked about this before, and if you want to see more about it, you can go back to when we were watching the riot footage. But at one point, it got so bad in Seattle with the police going, "You guys aren't supporting us. I'm taking my retirement," that they had to stop people from retiring.
Yeah.
Like, no, you cannot retire this year. You're going to have to wait till next year because we just don't have enough police.
Yeah. Real quick. Thank you, Keldrick. This is Dumb and Dumber reboot sucks, right? Well, I mean, they got lesser actors and one looks like a buffalo.
That you can make Cenk Uygur look almost genius-like is something to behold.
It does make a statement of some kind.
Remember, the guy on the left of your screen is actually far more influential than the guy on the right. In online political debate, he is far more influential. There's a reason Cenk came on this show to push his book.
Yeah.
Yeah, they died to COVID.
Yeah. Well, look, there was a lot of factors, okay, including cops not doing their job.
They died to COVID. No, that's not true.
Which I'll get to in a second. But having said that,
I need to get you laughing like that and put it on the soundboard if I ever turn it on.
Oh yeah, sorry.
No, that was perfect. I wish it would have lined up better.
Yeah, sorry. I was trying to get it timed right, but you know how it works.
Pyra says, and the damage will take years to fix. Oh, it'll take a decade to fix easily.
Oh, yeah, easily. Because there's so many cops that have quit or retired that are just fed up. They lost a lot of good people that way. And then you're left with the shitty cops who are going to cause infinite more damage and get their idiot friends jobs, too, to fill those gaps. Because they're going to lower standards.
Well, you also have places where they're like, hey, we only want black applicants.
Yeah. We got to get more minorities. How about getting qualified people? I don't care what color the skin tone is, as long as they show up and stop the crime.
Less cops, but that's not the main problem. But that was one of the contributing problems that led to more crime.
Don't forget things like California raising the limit for when you would be arrested for theft.
Yeah.
To almost $1,000. And if you did get arrested, it would only be a misdemeanor instead of a felony. Didn't it used to be like $200?
I think so.
It's like
$200, $950.
200 for grand larceny, and which would make it a felony. And they were like, "Oh yeah, inflation has happened, so we need to raise." That's honest to God. That was their reason for doing it. Inflation.
Yeah. Out here, the felony level is $600.
Jesus.
So, I mean, that's a bit egregious. I would have knocked that down to 500 personally, because you're more likely to have your $500 TV stolen.
I still think 250 is a good range.
Oh, I don't have a problem with that. It's just nobody wants to enforce any of that stuff.
Now, other things that I agreed with now have created issues. So, for example, no cash bail. Okay, I was totally in favor of no cash bail because I totally get the argument. I was the one putting forward that argument.
For the record, I do understand the argument for no cash bail. There is some logic to it. That rich people, okay, they get to go back out on the street, but poor people, sorry, poor people. It is a two-tiered system.
Yeah.
And so if you want to do that, just make it so nobody can get out until whatever, instead of going like, oh, everybody gets to just run the streets and rape people.
You stabbed 5 people. I guess we gotta let you go. Did you see that criminal that got busted? I forget what the exact circumstances were off the top of my head. I could probably look it up. He had been arrested 66 times.
Christ, hang on one second. Ragnar, thank you. Don't forget, most PDs have an IQ limit of 100. I'm not. Thank you for the donation. I'm not familiar with which one you're talking about, Jack.
It was something recent. It happened just the other day. Hold on, I'll look it up.
All right.
Hey, a rich guy and a poor guy does the same crime. Rich guy gets out on bail. Poor guy can't get out on bail. That's totally unfair.
True.
Right? But what wound up happening is recidivism is a massive part of crime. And so when we did no cash bail, yes, there are a number of guys who are down on their luck, high, whatever. There's a fat number of factors. And when we did no cash bail for them, they just went out and did more crime, more crime, more crime, more crime, more crime. And it became a real significant problem.
And it's one that somebody like me who even understands their argument was like, this is going to lead to bad shit.
Yeah, well, we called that out real early on.
Yeah.
Because it was stupid. And even Cenk figured out, to clarify my point, it's the guy charged with killing a dad of 3 during a home invasion. He had 66 arrests, including a 2010 home invasion with shots fired through a door.
Jesus.
I'll drop the link in the chat, but if anybody wants to read it, it's pretty fucking horrific.
One of the arguments for no cash bail was like, okay, Mr. X, who's not really a criminal, he did something wrong. He ends up with, goes in, can't make bail, ends up losing his job. The problem is that's not who most of these people are. It's not somebody who's on their first offense, and because they can never just get back out of the system, they turn to a life of crime. It's career criminals who were like, oh, wait, now you're not going to hold us? Sweet. Open season.
Yeah. A lot of people have this bizarre notion that criminals are just always framed up, and it's just that, oh, you just happen to catch them on a bad day. They're just trying to feed their families. No, some people are just evil scumbags who want to hurt others.
AOC, when we're watching people steal Nikes and shit, they're just stealing bread.
Yeah. Oh, they feed themselves. Shut up.
The one thing I didn't see through any of the 2020 riots was somebody stealing food.
No, it was all like iPhones and shoes and clothes and fancy shit that wasn't anything they could get their hands on.
And look, there's clearly times that some food-like products were stolen, like when they'd clear out a CVS and they'd take, the impulse items right there at the register. So they were stealing Starburst and Skittles.
Yeah, but that's an afterthought.
Yeah.
Or that's all that was left.
Yes.
And so when I look at
a certain point, I got to cut you off because you've made a couple points that I definitely disagree with.
Right. So, but let me just button it up this way.
Okay.
And there's other factors.
I can't remember stuff long. He's made 2 points. Defunding police is a bad idea because it ends up taking money away from the police, and then you have less police on the street, which increases crime, and that the no cash bail system just increased the recidivism rate. Hasan can't hold those 2 thoughts. Remember, you guys are watching it with me and Jack talking and putting this actually happens within like a minute. Hasan, the great political thinker, Jack. Wait. Too many points.
Factors. But my point is, let's be open to how do we get to the right reform so we have justice and they don't beat up black guys for no reason. They don't beat up homeless people for no reason. They don't
or white guys, Cenk.
Yeah, statistically, I mean, still majority white country, so white people are going to be the victims.
Just statistically, more white people are the recipients of police brutality, police shootings, especially unarmed shootings.
Yeah.
So
you're just going to see it more with the black community because the media has a narrative that all cops are racist.
Yep. How quickly did that story, those 4 black cops beating the shit, did they kill that guy or just beat the shit out of him?
I'm not sure. I don't remember off the top of my head, and I'm kind of lazy. But
that story went away quick.
Yeah, I mean, that is still an ongoing thing, and they're just not talking about it anymore because they don't give a crap. They're like, oh, they're black and
people for
wow.
Why is Hasan against capitalism? Because it makes him money, ironically.
Yeah.
He's not against capitalism. He just says that because the stupid people that watch him are like, yeah, fuck capitalism. He's sitting there in like a $3 million home.
Oh,
in the Hollywood Hills or in the Los Angeles Hills. I forget exactly where. He's in a very nice neighborhood in Los Angeles. I fuck that capitalism. Give me money so I can buy more shit. Look at this wall behind him. Look at that wall behind him. This is not stuff that he got free from a swap meet, Jack. There's a lot of really expensive stuff on this shelf.
Oh, yeah. I mean, shit, that standee of Bernie Sanders is like $50.
Those damn capitalists. He does it because it gets him money because retarded people watch Hasan.
Yeah. It's a good time to remind everybody we're brought to you by you. If you're enjoying the show, hit the like button, share it on your social media, and subscribe if you haven't. If you're feeling generous, you can toss us a couple bucks at the Streamlabs link in the chat, pinned at the top of the YouTube chat, and occasionally going through chat.
Thank you for that nice shill, Jack. You do it so much better than I do.
Well, we're pretty poor, and I'm hungry, so...
Thank you, Daniel, who says, what about when the police shot me, Cenk? Was that systemic racism? These guys like to ignore... Look, I'm with you on the police training. But the police tend to go where criminals are. And there's just as many poor white neighborhoods as there are poor black neighborhoods. That's where the majority of police interaction happens. Poor white and black neighborhoods.
Yeah, that's why you always saw cops in like the trailer park on the show Cops.
Sorry, Daniel Shaver was the name on that. Yeah. Sorry, I missed the joke there. Or horrific joke there. Yeah. Remember when not Trayvon, Mike Brown. When Mike Brown got shot by police, there was a Hispanic guy who got shot by police that same week. And they shot him because he was listening to his iPod. He couldn't hear them coming up behind him.
Yeah.
He pulls his iPod out of his pocket, not even facing them, and they blew his ass away. They didn't say shit about that light brown person.
No, because he's white adjacent.
Yeah.
He's a white Hispanic, no doubt.
Pyrus says, going to sleep, night folks, fuck commies, 100%.
Preach. Have a good night, Pyrus.
But I like that Cenk he's explaining, dude, I got some stuff wrong.
Yeah, that's shocking to admit.
If Cenk would do that more, I might actually watch him.
Yeah.
For no reason, but at the same time, have a reasonable policy where we protect the citizens.
Okay, great. So I've said this before. I'm not an abolitionist in the sense that, like, I don't believe
that was great, wasn't it? Oh, all right, great.
Yeah, that was very dismissive. Okay, whatever.
He just said to him, "Hey, can you slow down? I got to answer to these points." And then when he gets the chance to find, all right, great, and just dismisses everything that Cenk just said, which wasn't all that stupid. All right, take it away, dummy.
There is no necessity for a group of people, whether it's democratically organized or not, that will maintain the presence of law and order, but also solve crimes and do what police are theoretically supposed to do: protect and serve the community, protect and serve the people. In the United States of America, throughout the history of the United States of America, I do not believe that the police force, or whatever it was originally in its original inceptions, whether in the North they were the guys who were supposed to protect commerce in shipyards, or slave catchers in the South, have ever done that. They've always been protecting and serving the interests of capital.
Who owns the capital, sir? Even if we're taking his view of that, they're protecting the capital. It's the capital owned by the people. So they would be serving the people, you dumbass.
Well, there's a certain level of crime that has to be stopped just to maintain civil order. If you go back to like the feudal age when they had like city guards, people would still get them to help, and they'd bust up crime because you have to have a certain amount of order to things.
Yes.
Otherwise, people revolt and you have total chaos because they just start killing each other. This is dumb. And the whole slave catcher thing, I'm so tired of hearing that stupid fucking argument. That's disingenuous at best. But
Yeah,
I don't expect somebody like Hasan to know the difference.
Like, that's how policing started in the South, with slave catchers. No, they had what we would call police forces back then too.
Yeah.
Let me go Robin Hood on your ass. The sheriff of Nottingham, ring a bell? And he was a tax collector mostly.
Yeah. But there's still like certain amount of like they have to catch highwaymen and bandits and usually execute them. But there has to be a certain amount of safety guaranteed to the populace so they don't rise up against you. That has been true throughout history. It's usually done militarily in the past, but there was always a section of people that were, patrolling the city streets, that sort of thing, including town criers, by the way. By the way, the point that he made just before that, forget his exact wording. Damn, I have such a short.
You want me to go back?
Yeah, could you go back just a little bit, because he said something really stupid right before that.
Ballooning police budgets year over year have not added dent. You don't agree with that?
No. So we would have or cut because it was enough.
Yeah, they tried to.
Oh, sorry,
it's not the other things back. That I the same time down on when we. And
I cut you off.
Here we go. And the right for no protect the citizens.
In the sense that, like, I don't believe that there is no necessity for a group of people, whether it's democratically organized or not, that will maintain the presence of law and order, but also solve crimes.
Right there. People that solve crimes and maintain law and order, whether they're democratically elected or not, those are called police, you fucking idiot. What are we going to call them? Like, investigation patrol. They're still cops. You're just changing the name. That's like changing it from retard to cognitively disabled. The stigma's still there.
What did they call them? There isn't actually a name for the groups that they wanted to bring in certain cities like Atlanta, where they're like, we'll get rid of the police and we'll have these people who walk around and solve crimes.
Yeah, they're called police. They'd be called constabulary or something equivalent to that. Whatever name you're going to call them will be associated with the term police, because that's what they're doing. Policing. I don't understand how you can not draw that comparison.
Faithless just pointed out that would be semantics.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Dark Resurrect, for that feminist donation. Before there was a formalized police force, most places used a force of city watch guard who were usually part of the military. Exactly. They were a branch that was dedicated specifically to dealing with problems within the city, and as well as like maintaining like the watchtowers and looking for invading hordes, that sort of thing. But they were designed to patrol the streets and keep it safe at night. That was one of the benefits of living in the city versus the countryside. In the country, you were much more subject to bandits kicking in your door. But even then, there were patrols along the major roads to keep highwaymen and bandits out. But that was effectively the origins of the police, because they got to know the people in the community. The community felt comfortable going to them, saying, hey, this guy's trying to rip me off. And they solved disputes. usually with lethal force, but they still were a police force because they were policing the streets. The term police comes from policing. I'm sorry. It's just so fucking dumb. These people are idiots.
And you know, do what police are theoretically supposed to do: protect and serve the community, protect and serve the people.
They're there to keep peace. It's why we call them peace officers. It's not to protect capital, which he's about to say again. It's to preserve the peace.
Yeah, it's to enforce laws and maintain the peace. And usually it's done. The keeping the peace is done through enforcing the laws.
Yes.
Of America, throughout the history of the United States of America, I do not believe that the police force or whatever it was originally in its original inceptions, whether in the North they were the guys who were supposed to protect commerce in shipyards or slave catchers in the South, have ever done that. They've always been protecting and serving the interests of capital. So that's definitely an issue that I have.
Because you're an idiot who, when you're talking about police, you go back to slave catchers.
Yeah, because he's ignorant. He's an incredibly ignorant person, willfully so, and he listens only to left-wing media. I bet you this guy owns all Nicole Hannah-Jones and Ibram X. Kendi's books and has never read any actual history books.
No.
Having said that, however, you brought up a couple different points that I disagree with in terms of defund the police and also about how less police have caused more crime, and crime has like exploded in cities and whatnot.
The contributing factor.
Yeah, he didn't say it caused it. He said it contributed to it. This is the kind of simplistic thinking of the left when it comes to any kind of online punditry. They are so simplistic in their thinking. You said it caused the crime. It caused part of it. Absolutely, 100%. Less police on the streets lets the criminals know they have a better chance of getting away with crime.
Yep.
I don't know where people are losing this. This is why black neighborhoods, you talk to the people there, and you don't take my word for it. Go look up the polling that they've done. They're like, we need more police patrols, not less.
Yeah, the people that live in those areas are complaining. It's the people that live in these cushy, protected suburb areas and gated communities that are all like, we need to defund the police. Hassan's at no risk at the majority of places he goes. I guarantee it. He's a very minimal risk. And he's all about doing this because it doesn't affect him.
It's the same shit we see with the immigration thing.
Yep.
New York, you got to take care of those immigrants. No, don't send them here.
Yeah, or we have to go down to the border and complain. See the protests in Chicago the other day?
I saw a blip of it. I didn't actually read about it.
Oh, man. There were a lot of people out there complaining, several of which were very melanated people.
Because despite what the press tells you, white and black people are not as different as you think. That's all it comes down to.
And a lot of these illegals are ending up in poor areas because, well...
They sure as fuck aren't going to Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah, that's where they're going to stick them, guys. So, and it was funny watching like black guy after black guy after black guy get up and be like, we don't know these people.
Yeah. You want to see Hasan change his mind? Take Skid Row there in LA and move all of those people outside his house.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he will be all about solving the fentanyl problem then.
Yep. He'll care a lot more about crime when he's getting stabbed on his way into his house every day.
Yeah.
I do not believe that in the slightest. I do believe that what is known as the blue flu.
You don't believe less police contributed to more crime in the slightest.
Wait, he's come out as being very anti-cop overall.
Yes.
And he's blaming them for not showing up for the job. The blue flu, that just means they're not out shooting black people, dude. You should be all on board with that.
And the blue flu has nothing to do with underfunding or getting rid of police, which absolutely happened.
Hate fact.
Has created a lot of issues.
Oh, we should explain. For those of you who don't know what the blue flu is, it was police calling in saying that they were sick or just not going to bad neighborhoods, because that got lumped in with the numbers that they used for the blue flu. Say, "Oh, I'm too sick to come into work today." You only have so many work day or off days like that.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that perpetually. So to blame the rise in crime on something, at best, let's say they got 2 weeks off, that 2 weeks off, that caused crime. But actually removing 5, 6, 20 officers, that did nothing. That did not cause us. It's only when they take a vacation that crime goes up. That's fucking retarded, retard.
Well, look, he's not real smart. Thank you, Tyrai. I'm willing to throw money at the crazy things you say versus paying this Hasan. Oh, well, I appreciate that. Thank you. Because Hasan's an idiot. And I may not be the sharpest tool in the shed, but for fuck's sake, I hope I'm smarter than him.
That police are supposed to theoretically solve, which they never really have done a good job with. If you look at their clearance rates, you will realize that. Okay.
They could get better clearance rates, but we'd have to violate our rights.
Yeah, well, just shred the Constitution. Well, he professes communism, so he'd be on board with that. But also, you'd have to get people to cooperate, probably by force. But the Miranda rights made them stop beating the shit out of people for fun and profit.
Well, not just that. Look at how many times that there were massive crimes where your friends out there in Antifa were like, nobody talked to the cops.
Yep.
This Antifa guy got killed. Nobody talked to the cops. We'll handle it. And then bitch that they're unsolved crime. Fuck you. He's such a retard, man.
I know.
Okay. But
this isn't a beard. That's a drool bib.
That I would believe. Oh, thank you, Keldrick. I hear blue flu and my mind goes to monkeypox. I might be making the wrong connotation of blue. You might be, Keldrick. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure that when cops call off, they're not spreading the monkeypox. But I like where your brain is going. That's funny.
Beyond that, it's gotten even worse than it was before, because these are the most selfish, the most lazy, the most entitled, gigantically, insanely violent, uneducated paramilitary group that you could have ever fucking put together, and all of their ineptitude.
Has you not seen or read about what happened with police in the 60s?
I would like to use the phrase Somali pirates right here.
No shit.
Or Boko Haram. You want to talk? They're lazy. They're incompetent. How about illiterate warlord child soldiers, dude? What are you talking about?
Dude, and criminal negligence is constitutionally protected. They have no right to they have no duty to actually have to protect you. They can shoot you if they perceive you to be a threat when you're running away. All of these things have been.
No, you're not allowed to do that. Unless that person is armed and poses an immediate threat to the public, they're not allowed to shoot you in the back.
No.
That has not been allowed since the 70s. He is full of shit.
Protected by the Supreme Court. The real reason is because police are supposed to be a violent brigade.
No, what is protected by the Supreme Court is that if these guys are doing their job and they make a mistake that is reasonable within their job, then you can't get them. You can't throw them in jail for trying to do their job and in the heat of the moment, shit, like that time that they killed that one kid who clearly had a gun, but where the cop can't see it, he throws the gun away and then raises his arm at the cop. The cop just shot an unarmed individual, which under normal circumstances would be illegal.
Yes.
But it is absolutely reasonable that the cop didn't know he threw that gun away because the cop didn't see it.
And he couldn't have seen it from where he was. There was no way that cop knew that kid threw that gun. It's not possible.
No.
You see it from the body cam and you see it from that outside surveillance camera.
And the people he should be charged. No, look, I actually feel really bad for that cop. He killed a kid and yeah, he shouldn't have. But in the moment, if you were that cop, you'd have done the same goddamn thing.
Yeah, because you don't want to risk getting shot by this kid who is fleeing with a gun who was shooting the gun earlier.
Tansal, I think is how you pronounce that. Thank you so very much. Dude just described Antifa with no self-awareness, right?
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah.
hey, just a spoiler. If you don't know Hasan, he has no self-awareness. This is a communist who's living in a $3 million home wearing a really ugly gold necklace, this big fat. I guarantee you that watch on his arm costs at least 10 grand.
Oh, probably. He likes to flaunt his money, which is ironic for a communist. But
I'm sorry, Jack. Just to that point, he is an environmental supporter who owns a Porsche to drive 2 miles. That's who we're talking about here.
It's so pathetic.
He loves to flaunt his wealth, but he's a socialist. We need to bring the socialism in.
Yeah, totally not a hypocrite who would lose everything in an actual communist revolution. He is the bourgeoisie they're supposed to be fighting against. And he would be considered a kulak.
He's also one of those people who confuses socialism with communism. There is a difference between those two on paper, but in reality, most of the time they talk about socialism, they want communism. Anyway.
That will defend and protect the interests of capital when push comes to shove. That is the reason why they are.
Hey, let me ask you this, Hasan. Did the Russians, the Soviets, did they have police? Do the Chinese? Well, what about the North Koreans? Do they have police?
Those aren't real communists, monkey.
Oh, okay. So they're just protecting capital too.
Yes, they're protecting capitalism. I mean, obviously.
Thank you, Ragnak. A proper criticism of the police is that by rule of the Supreme Court, they are to protect and serve the federal government and no duty to the citizen. I understand people being upset about when the Supreme Court said they have no duty to do this. But the reason that they said that is that they don't have to die to save someone else. That's not a reasonable thing. And in fairness, they're not the military. If you want to change them into the military, which I think would be a bad idea, where they have to just do what is ordered, then you'd have to say, yes, you have to do that. I think as a principle, they should.
Yeah, that's kind of their role in society, is to put themselves in danger so that the public is protected. But at the same time, I'm not gonna just run out and get murdered because I'm told to. So I get there's a self-preservation instinct there. But at the same time, qualified immunity needs to end. That's what a lot of these bad cops hide behind.
Qualified immunity needs to be adjusted, because qualified immunity is what I described a little earlier, of them making a mistake during the course of their job. And a lot of times it's used when it is a blatant misuse of their power.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'd go along with that, yeah.
Tyrite, thank you so much. During Floyd riots, I was deployed with a homicide detective from Philly. When asked about the situation, she said that as officers, they are afraid to arrest certain people because of incidents like the Floyd riots and losing their jobs. True.
Yep. Because they will. They'll get fired. Their career will be ruined. Look at that. The guy that shot Mike Brown. His life was destroyed. That Darren guy.
Yep.
Darren
Wilson.
Yeah. His life was destroyed because of that. He had been doxxed. He had been hounded. People were making death threats. Same with the cop that shot that fat bitch with the knife in Columbus.
Yep.
That's ridiculous. LeBron James helped dox that guy.
Yep.
Hey, you telling me some nut job that worships LeBron James is going to try to take a shot at that dude? Of course they're worried about that.
Andrew Joyner, thank you. Hi, Monkey. Hello. Even Al Sharpton thinks defunding the police was a dumb idea. Hasan seems like he's trying to sound stupid. He's trying hard to sound smart. And seriously, one of the reasons I wanted to highlight that, because he is retarded.
Yeah.
This is what people are watching and taking in and believing. Even Cenk is telling him, you're wrong, dummy. But of the two that have influence when it comes to social media and politics, the one on the left here has all that power. That's a damn shame.
Yeah, it's largely because young people are incredibly gullible and stupid these days.
Are the way that they are. Okay.
Okay.
The idea that their funding is fine and that
real quick, I don't know if you keep seeing this dog that pops up. It says so and so used Bezos money. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you can hook it to your Twitch account. And then once a month, you get a free subscription to somebody, whoever you want. And this is him getting those donations from people from Amazon. Our little anti-communist or our anti-capitalist guy here. Give me that Bezos money.
Yeah, well, to him, his idea is that it's redistributing the wealth, but it's really just he's a fucking idiot who doesn't see the hypocrisy there.
He's not doing that for any of his other donations. It's the Bezos money.
Their numbers are diminishing, and that's what actually is like a real gigantic problem for crime is, in my opinion, a historical and completely incorrect. They have gotten more money year over year, including in the defund the police years, where not a single fucking precinct, with I believe one exception, it might have been Minneapolis, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, not a single fucking precinct actually had diminished resources or diminished funds. As a matter of fact, they got more money, and they got the most amount of money in comparison to all of the other amenities that the local governments are supposed to offer.
If you look at the ones who did reduce funding and then went, oh shit, and re-put the money up, there were tons of them who didn't get any more money. And I'd have to look at the exact statistics to see if whether no other police department other than the Minneapolis one lost money year over year. But we know others did 100% either move resources or cut funding before they backtracked on it.
Yeah.
We read stories here. But no, just that one. None of them did it except one. None of them did it.
It just didn't happen because I didn't
Los
pay
Angeles
attention to any of them.
And that doesn't necessarily address the lack of number of police. You can still get the funding to hire 100 police officers, but if you only have 45 applicants, you don't get 100 police officers. He's completely overlooking what we talked about with like the Seattle police, where they're like, please stop retiring. The number of people who didn't even have retirement is like, fuck it, I am not going to be a cop here anymore. This happened all over the place. Yep. New York City Police Department and Seattle's budgets did drop. I thought Seattle was one of them, Cirque, but I didn't want to say because I don't know. I'd have to look that up, but I'll take your word for it for now. But no, Hassan, he knows everything. It didn't happen. Did I mention slave catchers yet?
Police department, the Los Angeles Police Department gets.
And all I see is propaganda. For some reason, that Dax song just popped in my head.
I don't know that one.
That's the one he did with Tom McDonald, where Tom McDonald said, went to sleep with the American dream, woke up in Nightmerica, which is one of my favorite song lyrics I've ever heard.
You referenced that as if I would know what the hell you're talking about.
The audience knows. The audience knows.
Fair enough.
Costs, taxpayers.
Plus, I was just highlighting that lyric because that's a great lyric.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Woke up in Nightmerica. I don't know how that was not a thing before that song.
I'm sure somebody had used it before and it was just lost to time.
It's one of those sayings that pops up and you're like, how did nobody think of that before? And maybe you're right. Maybe somebody did. But even at that point, how did that not come up before?
You'd think that would be a consistent thing, but here we are.
$1 million a day to operate. Okay. And what is that operation? Fucking not doing shit when a robbery is happening in front of them. Okay.
You're going to blame that on the police?
Obviously.
You're going to blame the police for not arresting people, knowing that nothing's going to, not wasting their time is what you just said. What he's talking about is what we've seen in California, where California raises the amount for a felony charge for theft to $950. So you have these assholes walking in with giant pillowcases like it's fucking Halloween and just filling the fucker and walking right out.
Yeah. What's the point of arresting them if they're not going to get? I mean, there's murders to respond to. They know these guys aren't going to get prosecuted. They'll be cut loose. And even if you write them a ticket, that'll get dismissed.
And you arrest him and something goes wrong, you end up having to shoot this guy, and you end up on trial for your life.
Yep. Did you see the thing in, I think it's London, where a bunch of cops turned in their carry permits?
No.
And their guns? Yeah, it was like 100 cops turned in their guns and carry permits. And they had to call in the military because they're so short-staffed now. Because they charged a cop with killing a guy who, quite honestly, from the sound of what I read about it on a lefty site, the guy needed killing.
Fair enough. We saw a lot of that with 2020, where these police turned in their shit. We're seeing a lot of it now where they're not arresting people. Somewhere like Portland, there's no reason to arrest people on most things because they're just going to turn them loose. New York is proudly doing that same stupid. There were no cash bail and less felonies because the school to prison pipeline. No, it's criminal to prison pipeline.
Yeah. If your school is turning out criminals, you should probably investigate that school as to why they're creating criminals.
Can I just point out, this man who was just whining that all the police do is protect capital is now whining because the police are watching people steal.
Yes. Did you want them to protect that capital?
Pick a lane. That's my new saying. Pick a lane. I don't care which one.
So if his house gets robbed, is he just going to be like, no, they took my capital?
Oh my God. This is off topic. Did you see that chick on Twitter? There were actually two of them bragging that they didn't turn in their rapist.
Yeah.
Instead they had him go basically to group therapy.
Yeah,
he's a rapist.
That's psychotic. That's actually psychotic.
And then they'll whine that rape isn't taken seriously.
If they're not taking it seriously, why would the cops?
Ebony says, "What in the world?" Yeah. You let this man, because she said she fought against him being charged with rape, which means it was turned in, it went through the police and everything. And she's like, be nice to my rapist. You are now culpable for anyone else he rapes.
Yep.
You helped keep him on the streets. Anyway.
Okay.
Now, if you ask,
most rapists will probably commit again if they're not punished.
Yep.
Them, they'll say it's because you don't want me to be violent. You made me this way. You don't want me to stop the crime, so I'm not doing it.
No, that is not all they're saying. Many of them are saying we can't do it.
Oh, that's hate fact monkey.
Oh, he's such a lying little weasel. I'm sure he talks to a lot of police like he talks to a lot of poor people.
They're like petulant little fucking children.
Really? You just complained that all the police are there for is for protecting capital. You're now whining that they're not protecting capital, and you're calling them petulant children.
That's the thing that just happened, yeah.
You can't even make up what you're being a petulant child about.
Okay.
You literally started this off being dismissive to your uncle who just made very good points. They're petulant children
who refuse to do the fucking job that they are supposed to do. They have the best fucking workplace protections. They basically live.
Apparently he's never heard of school unions.
Yeah.
Look, the police do have their own union. Well, it's almost like there's some problem with unions.
Public sector unions are a bane upon a free society.
In like a social democracy. They're the only individuals in society that have like fat pension programs and permanent job security.
What?
Hey
Jack.
Again.
Do the police have an equivalence to tenure?
No.
Could you remind me what tenure is?
That's usually in schools, like universities, where they really can't get fired, and they don't really do anything after that. They just sort of sit around with thumbs up their asses.
But no, it's look. I am against police unions, and there are problems with it where a lot of bad cops end up staying on the street because of the unions. But it's the unions, not the police, that are the problem there. And we know this because it happens with all public sector unions. The worst being the teachers union.
Mm-hmm.
They are 100% the worst.
And then on top of that, what is their job? Is to be able to fucking shoot people if they want to and get away with it. It's fucking insane.
Is that in the job description? Because I might have to do a career change here.
Right?
If I could just go gunning whoever I want down without any cause or consequence. What did he watch Judge Dredd?
I guess.
What is he like a big Carl Urban fan? He's like, this Dredd guy. That's what all cops are really like.
They can do it without consequence. Can you remind me where Derek Chauvin is right now?
Oh yeah, he's in prison.
Huh? Without consequence, I guess.
Yeah. Even though he did nothing wrong.
Get a little truth stuck in your throat there.
Yeah. Sorry. I got a little. Maybe it was fentanyl.
Or maybe it was fentanyl.
Okay.
So
it's nuts. The entire structure is fundamentally broken. Okay. And that is by design.
You're whining the fundamental structure that you are against is broken because they're not doing what you're against. You should be in favor of this. You should at least be half in favor of this.
By the way, any content creators out there with the motivation, take this clip and cut it up so that every time he says okay, you insert Camille Pagula clip of her go okay, because she says okay like every third fucking word.
True. Can I also point out he's basically whining about unions, and right over Cenk's shoulder is Mr. Union himself, Bernie Sanders.
Yep.
Damn unions. I won't say that word though, because that's sacrosanct to the liberals.
Yeah, I mean, how dare you? You never question the union if you're a lefty, because they're the proto-commies.
They are supposed to be that way. They are supposed to operate that way because when push comes to shove, when people are rioting in the streets or whatever, okay, when the inherent contradictions become ever present, and people start to react to that in either direction, okay, whether it's like reactionary activity, 3%ers and the like, or
this is something Hasan does a lot, and we saw him do it a little while ago. He just rambles off a whole bunch of shit that has nothing to do with anything. Mm-hmm. And doesn't complete a thought and still just keeps talking.
Yeah, he thinks he's making some big point, but he just sounds like he's a homeless person ranting at a wall.
Oh, that's a good point, too. They're like petulant children. Now bring me my nuggies. Yes, he's one of the big nuggie people. I need my nuggies. I need my nuggies and my baba and my blankie. All right, but I want to let him just do this because this is mind-numbing.
And then on top of that, what is their job? Is to be able to fucking shoot people if they want to and get away with it. It's fucking insane.
Here we go.
So it's nuts. The entire structure is fundamentally broken. Okay. And that is by design. They are supposed to be that way. They are supposed to operate that way because when push comes to shove, when people are rioting in the streets or whatever, okay, when the inherent contradictions become ever present, and people start to react to that in either direction, okay, whether it's like reactionary activity, 3%ers and the like, or whether it's like people fucking throwing Molotov cocktails or whatever because they're losing their minds at the reality that they have no economic prospects and it feels like their lives are getting progressively shittier. Okay, they will sit there and they will put their fucking police force in rich neighborhoods and protect those people and ensure that storefronts are not damaged.
I think what he was trying to say there is that when bad stuff happens, they only protect the rich folks. He went a long way about it, and that's fine. But when the police do things like take all the stuff we watched in Portland, night after night after night after night, we watched the police push these shitbags back who are destroying property, who are shooting fireworks at the police, who are starting fires in the middle of the street, literally blinding police officers with lasers. That's a thing that happened during that.
Mm-hmm.
Every response the police did, which, by the way, this isn't in a rich neighborhood. This is in downtown Portland. Every response was met with what? How dare you do that to them? Thank you, Rooftop Korean, who says, damn right, I'm protecting my storefront. True. You should do it. But every time they tried to stop them with the tools that they had, for fuck's sake, the city of Portland took away the tools from the police to stop these shitbags. He specifically mentioned riots in that really rambling diatribe he just had. And everything they did, do you remember the one chick who gets pulled out from behind because she'd snuck in behind the fence there in front of the federal building, and they pull her out and they're like, look at this. She wasn't even in there, because all of the pictures in the media are from her outside the fence.
Yeah.
And like, she did nothing wrong. The bitch helped start a fire inside the police fence that was there to protect the building.
Oh, they're protecting Capitol, monkey. How dare you?
Except they weren't. That's a courthouse.
It's obviously got some value, ergo Capitol.
Fair enough, I guess so. Yeah, the commies would have just let them burn it down. The Soviets would have been like, fuck it, burn that one down. We'll make a new one.
Yeah, I mean, it's the people's property, isn't it? Something dumb shit.
God, he's a fucking retard, man. People listen to this guy.
I don't get it, man.
It is fun to make fun of him, though.
Yeah, but he's so stupid.
People throwing Molotov cocktails because they have no economic prospects. You mean Antifa commies, moron? Thank you, Keldrick. Indeed. I love that because he starts off talking about how they're reacting to the police. That's how he starts off that diatribe there. They're reacting to the police. And part of that reacting to the police is that they don't have economic prospects.
Go get a job. Let's face it, most of the people in Antifa either have extensive criminal records or they're lazy.
Especially touching kids.
Yeah, there's an inordinate amount of kid diddlers in there.
Yeah.
But for fuck's sake, it's not like these people can't get a job at like Wendy's or something. They just choose not to because they're lazy.
Remember, especially in Portland, and I know people get mad when I say this, but it's 100% true. In Portland, the BLM part of the protests happened during the day.
Mm-hmm.
And when the sun goes down, the BLM folks went home. And Antifa comes out in full force in all black bloc. Those people, every time we've seen it, they turn out to be middle class or better kids. They don't even need to get a job. Just go home and live off your parents like you have been.
Yeah,
they're well-to-do people.
You say kids, but a lot of them, let's face it, were in their late 20s, early 30s.
We saw some in their 40s, man.
Yeah. Well, those are usually the kid diddlers.
Yep. Remember those two guys we saw sitting on the curb there and talking, and they're clearly both late 30s, early 40s. And you can just tell they're just trying to bang a hippie chick.
Yeah. Yeah, that was hilarious.
Oh, fuck.
Hey, you know what? I'm okay with that.
Yeah, me too.
I get the reasoning.
Hey, at least they were trying to bang of-age people.
Yeah, that's true. Which is probably what threw off the Antifa people, because they were like, "Oh, you're going after adults? You mean like with pubic hair? Because they're all hairy chicks. You know, they don't trim their bush or shave their armpits, so they're all gross and hairy." No. But
again, this is one of the weird conundrums of the feminist movement, is that they stopped shaving their legs and armpits but started shaving their pubes. Like, we have to stand up to the men. We're going to let our armpit hair grow out, but this bush is going to be nice and bald so that they can see it in all its glory.
Like, I like a nice shaved cooch as much as the next guy, but if you have weird armpit hair, I'm out. That's a major red flag to me. That there's something wrong with you upstairs.
How you got hairy legs and no bush?
Yeah, it's weird.
Anyway.
So, there's actually a lot I agree with you on. The main difference is that I think all those factors contribute, whereas you think the biggest factor is the cops basically not doing their job / their job was always misdirected in the first place, right? So I don't disagree with you on that at all.
I do, because it's a retarded statement.
Yeah.
That there have been bad cops forever does not mean that the majority of police aren't doing their job and just trying to do it well and get home tonight. And to try to lump that all together and say that's why crime has risen. Okay, let's just do a little logic here, Jack. You're a criminal, right?
Oh, okay.
And you believe that you're going out to do your crime, and there's a decent chance the police are going to murder you. Versus you're a criminal who thinks if you go out, there's a good chance the police aren't going to do anything. Which one would you rather be? The criminal where the police aren't going to do anything, or the one where there's a good chance you're going to get shot?
Oh, I think, it's I like me some risks, so I'm gonna go out and get me some murder action. Oh wait, no, that's not it at all.
Unless you're using it as an insurance thing for your family because you get shot and the city will pay them really well. It makes no good reason to go out there. All right, look, man, we could probably get shot, so let's go do as much crime as possible. And then to turn around and go, but the police aren't doing their job at all. Those two, are they overzealous in doing it or not doing it at all?
Shut up.
He literally said the police can just kill anybody. You can shoot anybody you want. So do they just not want to shoot people? They're too lazy to even shoot people? That's too much paper. If I shoot that guy, man, I got to fill out like 4 papers.
It is a lot of paperwork for a good old-fashioned shooting.
Fuck.
So,
I just think that's
these people are so fucking dumb. They just don't know how anything works. And it amazes me every time how little they know about how things work.
a big part of the equation, but not the whole equation.
It's not even a big.
And I'll give you a couple.
It's not even a big part of the equation. The stuff you talked about the first time is the big part of the equation. See, this is what I was talking about. Where Cenk, he'll say some smart stuff, and then he'll give his opinion further, and the more he gives his opinion, the further away from reality it gets.
Yeah, it's like he's talking himself out of reality.
Yeah.
Examples from LA to give you a sense of what I think are the issues. So in terms of the funding or the number of cops, I think that is a factor. You don't think it's a factor, but I actually think it's a relatively small factor.
If that was the case, then policing would have gotten better year over year as their funds
No, because
grew.
he specifically said the number of police, and the number of police is not growing at an exponential rate.
Yeah,
there's a lot of funding. There's a lot of funding that has been given that has nothing to do with the number of cops on the street. For instance, body cameras have to be paid for.
Yeah. Which does improve policing because it keeps the police honest, and it helps protect the citizens more often than the cops. So,
right.
And so, by the way, though, hold on, don't make that argument, Huss, because crime statistics got way better throughout the years as police budgets did get larger. Right.
And that's
so that
true.
doesn't really help your argument.
That's true, except for in the last couple of years with they try to blame it on the pandemic, but it actually starts before that, where crime has gone out of control in the last couple of years. But before that, yeah, crime was coming down.
Hate fact.
But Hasan doesn't know anything because he thinks this has something to do with slave catchers.
Well, now, but I don't think it's that simple either. I don't think it was just the police budgets. No, there was a lot of different things that happened with crime that made crime go lower, including, by the way, lead in the walls and the paints and the cars. So very complicated issue, right?
Yeah, but I'm glad that you at least brought up the lead point because crime has globally gone down.
Yeah,
in areas where police budgets, in areas.
You know what else has happened during that time as they got rid of lead? The world at large has gotten richer. And we know, and that's not to say lead, because lead actually does affect the brain, and maybe a handful of people are in jail because they ate lead chip paint.
That's called wall candy. Thank you.
But what we do know is that the more affluent you are, the more money you have, the less likely you are to commit crime. And as the world has gotten richer, crime has gone down. Thank you, Kingslayer Damocles. It can be both overzealous on non-police, but won't do their job at all when it comes to other officers committing crimes. It can be, but not when you're making the argument that this is the main problem and this is the main problem. Either they're overzealous doing their job or they're not. They're not doing it at all. It literally can't be both. Unless you're saying, okay, only a handful of them are being overzealous and actually doing their job at all. And then these guys over here, they're just not doing anything. I suppose you can make that argument. But in neither of those cases can you really say that that's the majority of the police force. Unless you're going to say that it's 50-50. How many police shootings are there a year? Isn't it like 2,000?
Something like that.
Out of the more than 1 million police officers, when you use all the different, sheriff, city police, your state police, the FBI, the ATF, when you put all of these guys together, the number of shootings is ridiculously low. Ridiculously low. So I don't think you can even blame it on overzealous cops. This is just the talking point is, if there was a police shooting, it's got to be on the news every night for 10 weeks because the person who got shot was black. Oh, wait, it was a black police officer. That never happened. Here's one where a whitey did it. It's a bunch of propaganda. It's same with the blue flu. Same with the police who are just standing around doing nothing. Most of the time we see the police standing around doing nothing. It's the riots the jackass here was talking about. And it doesn't matter what neighborhood they're in. Because for the most part, they're told, hey, don't engage these people. Just kind of have a police presence here. They let them do their shit. They let them beat people up. And we saw that over and over again with the riots.
Yeah. Because every time they tried to stop that stuff, they caught total shit for it. So why bother?
But you are right. I should have pointed out the lack of number of overzealous police because it just doesn't exist. You've got billions of police interactions every year, probably in the trillions, and there's like 2,000 shootings. And that's if you take you got to take like, I think it's a Washington Post that keeps track of this, if you're going by their numbers. And I think it's I think it's only like 200 when it comes to how many are shot unarmed, which is what that's the one they always whine about is unarmed shooting. 200. That's what, 4 a state over a year with all the police interactions. It's not the problem they try to make it out to be. You are right for calling me out for, I should have made that point instead.
Where police budgets have not gone up as high as the United States of America.
Yeah, I'm just pointing out that it doesn't help your cause to say that the budgets have gone up and crime has gone down. That did happen. I don't think that's a great correlation either. Don't get me wrong. Okay, now I think and I agree with you that the bigger problem, the cops not doing their job, is in a story that I'm going to tell you. But it's also because of some of the laws that we passed.
Thank you. See, this is one of those times where Cenk gets something right.
Well, I mean, let's let him finish because he can't fuck it up yet.
And so now some very violent crimes are misdemeanors. Yep. And they should not be misdemeanors.
New York is probably the best example of that.
Hate fact.
Thank you, Kingslayer. I mean, Tyre Nichols, I'm not sure I said it, was beat to death. So that wouldn't be part of the police shooting stats. Okay, how many people do the police beat to death each year?
That was Tyre Nichols.
Tyre Nichols, thank you. That says Tyre.
I don't know.
I saw, just as an aside, there was a football player. I forget his name, but they did that with the E at the end. There's more emphasis on it. I think the name should have been Dam, and instead it's like Dame. No, that says Dam. Or Dame. Yeah. Dame is actually what it spells. Anyhow.
Because misdemeanors get pled down to nothing.
Wait, before they were pled down in New York, they just, without the legislature involved or the city involved, they just decide, hey, this is going to be a misdemeanor from now on. Alvin Bragg did it with the stroke of a pen. And the way they do that is like, we just won't charge the felony. So, I mean, he's not wrong with what he's saying either, but it is worse than just that.
These get pled down to misdemeanors. Misdemeanors get pled down to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So no one's talking about that.
What
Giant
crimes,
part of the problem.
What crimes are you
Some
talking
sexual
about?
assaults
True.
are misdemeanors. Okay, that's insane. It's totally insane.
So
a guy in New York subway took a dump and smeared it on a woman's face, and that was a misdemeanor. How is that a misdemeanor? Are you insane?
Yeah, that's a biological attack.
Yeah.
That's a terrorist attack.
Okay, so okay, look. And maybe some mistakes were made there, and they should have made some of those things misdemeanors. And that's exactly my point. You don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater, and you don't have to go to extremes and say we should only focus on one or the other, right? But now I'll give you an anecdote that is an example of the type of thing that happens. So I have a neighbor who's
by the way, we're not operating under the principle that like the New York Police Department or the New York court structure or New York in general, currently led by a cop mayor, is in any way, shape, or form like engaging in police abolition, right? Or defunding the police.
No, but
because it is more expensive to run.
No, this is one of the things he does. He tries to go back. Cenk is making the point that it's more than just one or two things, and he's pointing to how crimes are prosecuted. And dumbass, wait, we're not talking about defunding, right? Why would you think he was? Did anybody think Cenk was talking about defunding the police right there?
Well, look, you got to move that goalpost sometimes.
All right, I can't watch any more of this. We'll throw it into chat for people if you want to see it. It is ridiculous. And again, this isn't the only thing they argue about. And it's fucking hilarious to just see Cenk make this guy look like a retard, because he is. When you make Cenk look smart, you have made an error in your life. And you should feel bad about yourself and probably never speak publicly again.
Yeah, you should definitely rethink your life choices.
You can actually see Cenk thinking his way out of the right answers, because it's like he's trying to suck up to Hasan, which he probably is. Exactly. He's trying to sell his book and his TYT, because Hasan gets a lot more viewers than TYT does.
Yeah.
That's the Young Turks, for those of you who don't know. But it's just instructive to pay attention to these folks who are, whether you believe it or not, they are dictating a lot of the conversations that are going on. Hasan, whether you like it or not, this guy has a lot of pull in media, both social and otherwise. People listen to what this guy says. Monkey, I think that's the wrong link. How the fuck did that? Okay, sorry about that. You're right. That's the StreamYard link. Again, you can click on that and come into the show, but you won't get invited on. So
it's not like the back room.
Not like the old Hangout days where that could have been an issue.
Yeah.
Where suddenly there's a guy in chains beating off. What was he wrapped in again? I forget. That happened on Gutenberg's stream.
I don't remember.
He threw out the link publicly, and there's a guy naked, but with something wrapped around himself. Maybe was it saran wrap? I forget. But yeah, he just starts beating off on stream. Oh, the internet. Oh, the internet.
The Wild West internet was the best.
Indeed. I did click it. Yeah, that's fine. I appreciate you letting me know. Again, I'm not worried about our link getting dropped out, because I can control who comes on here. But yeah. I did want to make sure people had the right link to watch. There's a lot of these guys out there now. The SJW movement kind of dries up, and politics on social media kind of dries up there for a little bit, and it moves over to Twitch. And on Twitch, it is entirely lefty. You have a little bit of a pushback with some of the red pillars who, if they talk about politics, tend to go a little bit conservative. Like Andrew Tate, for some reason, is seen as a conservative icon by some people. I don't know. I don't know why.
I don't either.
But otherwise, all you're going to get over there is Hasan and people wanting to be Hasan, which is scary.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a lot of these people are raised with communism.
Yeah.
Being preached to them, the utopian notion of communism, not the horrors and the reality of it. So of course they're gonna be like, this is obviously the way.
He just started beating off on stream. My internet dropped. What the fuck did I return to? It was a thing that happened a long time ago, back in the age of doing this on YouTube Hangouts. If you purposefully or accidentally, whichever, dropped your link to the stream itself, and somebody clicked on it, they would immediately be put in the stream. Where if you come into my thing right now, you go to a back room and you don't come on unless I pull you into it. You were immediately on there. And Gutenberg, I forget who he was with that night, but they're hanging out and they're goofing off. And Gutenberg's like, you know what? I'm going to drop the link on Twitter. And so he drops the link on Twitter, and immediately some dude pops up who was, he was polishing his knob, and he finished from what I heard.
Ew.
Yeah.
Yeah. So something similar happened to me and Johnny Hellcat when he's like, hey, I'm going to throw this out on, find out what happens. And some dude comes in pinching his nipples, thrusting back and forth with no pants on. That dude he was a big fat dude with a boner. It was disturbing.
Nut says, see, I can say I tried to get on. No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
He would let you on.
Here's the thing. I know how this works. What happened is you click that and it comes up to a page where you have to enter the stream. And that's when you go into the back room. And you did not click to come in the back room. I would have noticed. I was looking at this screen. Nice try, Missy. Nice try. Anyway, guys, we're going to wrap up here. We're 2.5 hours in after talking about Aiden Paladin and fucking Hassan Piker. What a weird night.
I know. We didn't even get to the JF Garpy stuff.
I talked about it briefly earlier.
Oh, did you? Oh.
Yeah, about him killing his wife.
Allegedly, possibly.
Allegedly. Look, Fugi sent me the story.
Uh-huh.
I want to bring up what I was sent. Because Fugi sent me a link to the tweet he had put out about it. And in the tweet, it has kind of a description of what's happened. This one. All right. So JF Garrity is telling people what has happened. It says, we've got a tater on the loose, is what Fugi said. But this is what JF says. The police in Canada is looking for Mama JF because in true Mama JF fashion, she's left our home in June and has disappeared from the map. She's been missing since June.
Yeah, and no one reported her until a few days ago.
I am sure that Mama JF is fine. I know she has been safe for at least 2 days after I dropped her where she wanted in June. Mama JF left our home entirely voluntarily to go live a life of adventure wherever. She decided to become a hobo. I'm going to go ride the rails. But anyway, wherever it would bring her. But since she has electronically disappeared, that means he finally threw her phone into the river. Not connecting her cell phone or updating me or her family. I ask anyone who would have encountered her to just notify the police so that they can know she's safe. And I ask her if she wants to leave a note to the police, me, or her family to ensure everyone of her safety. If you want to send an encrypted tip anonymously, I can receive them here. He actually shills out his tipping mechanism on a thing notifying people that his woman is missing.
Yeah, I think this was sort of look, my potato's gone. If you have evidence against me, let me know so you can join her.
Faithless says this reminds me of the van life couple murder last year.
Yeah,
as soon as he says that he dropped her off somewhere and basically nobody's seen her since, like nah, bro, I don't hear. Now the second part of this is what I told you guys about earlier. Somebody says, you were the last known person to see her since June. And he says, no, she's been traveling and leaving an electronic trace far from mine.
How does he know that?
So I do not expect to be a suspect in her disappearance. That's the part that really is like, oh my God, he did kill her.
Yeah, he's going to change his name to Scott Peterson to be totally innocent.
I've seen this shit on some of those murder things Lady Monkey likes to watch.
Yeah. Thank you, Keldrick. This is written exactly how spouse killers explain away their missing spouse. Yes. The more he talks, the worse it gets, too. I was watching Warski's stream, the Kino Casino on Kick. And oh dear God, this guy cannot stop digging. Like, he just makes himself look worse and worse every time he talks.
How much you want to bet that every time that his electronic signature was far from hers, his phone was just in his house?
Yeah. Oh, I would almost guarantee that. And he was out driving with her phone or something.
Thank you, JB. It's Canada. Even if he did murder her, that's like a 5-year sentence. Half to Jack. Thank you so much.
Thanks, JB.
Yeah, they'll just be like, hey, thank God you suicided her for us, so we don't have to do it.
Yeah. Well, it's just an assisted suicide.
You know, we don't have to end just yet. We can cover this more. Because Fugi sent me some other things. I know you did too. But is this, which one is which here? We'll watch just the clip.
Just the clip.
Just the clip. There's a 36-minute clip and there's a 2-minute clip. We'll watch the 2-minute clip. All right, this is JF Garapi, the potato lover, who's going to explain what happened. Have you seen this, Jack?
Yes, this is one of the clips Worski was playing. Worski and PPP. That stream is worth a watch because, dear God, this guy cannot stop digging.
Maybe we should do did JF Garapi kill his potato stream?
Yes.
Right.
Look, see, whereas children are drawn to the mines because they crave the mines because they're miners, potatoes are drawn to shallow graves.
Yeah, because that's how they grow.
Yeah, it's how they multiply.
Yeah.
That's science.
Come on, JF.
So in June, she left.
Uh-huh.
And 2 days after leaving, so she left and she had a whole plan. She had bought camping material. She was on her way to some sort of survivalist trip.
Survivalist trip.
He mashed his potato nuts. You're being horrible tonight.
Yeah, I made that joke in our DMs. I called him the potato slayer, I think.
Yes.
Potato masher.
So she bought camping stuff. She was just going to go live in the wild?
Yes, she's going feral. There's a feral potato out there, you guys. Beware. Beware the feral potato.
From what I understood, it looked like she was preparing for life in the wild.
Wait, from what you understood, aren't you the one that dropped her off wherever you dropped her off to live in the woods?
Look, his story doesn't need to make a lot of sense. If she ended up in the Nahanni Valley and as her body's found headless, he'll be like, look, she was out in the wilds, and that place is known for headless people.
Yes. He was just making French fries. He took her over to Frenchy Canada.
Yep.
Promised me when she left that she would always be reachable and that I would be able to reach her to deal with all of the official papers. You know, that she owns a lot of stuff and sometimes I need her signature.
Yes. She disappears and she owns a lot of stuff. All right. And she'll always be in touch. She's going survivalist. Maybe she got herself a nice solar charger for her phone.
Well, yeah, I mean, like you do.
Sure. And I was like, and although, you know, we do have legal remedies for this, I was like, if you totally disappear, you might put me in trouble on some bit.
That's what normal people say. If you totally disappear, I might be in legal trouble. Who says that?
Who thinks it?
Murderers and psychos.
Hey, babe, I'm going camping. Ooh, I might get in trouble if you do that.
You can't disappear completely because if you decide to go rogue, somebody's going to come knocking. Oh, thank you, Cryptic. A French Canadian owned a primate as pet. While walking his pet in a mixed neighborhood, the primate snatched his car keys and ran off. The guy shouted for help. Mon key!
Nice.
That's really funny, actually.
In chat, JB says, she said, and I quote, "I'm very much alive and JF did not murder me." Oh, fuck.
Is on some, getting utilities and everything. So she promised to me that she wouldn't fully disappear.
Well, she didn't, JF. You know where she's buried. Come on.
Yeah. Well, that means that's how he knows she didn't totally disappear. Because like a finger is sticking out of that shallow grave, I bet.
Well, it takes a long time for bone to break down.
That's true.
She went away, and 2 days later, she talked to me on the phone and sent a message. But by the way, everything I tell you is things I have told to the police. So it's
which is why you are under suspicion for murdering her right now,
right?
Because you told this same dumbass story to them, and they were like, "Huh?
Go on."
Continue. Cryptic, thank you. Quebec, Canada is currently experiencing record-breaking flooding. It's a good thing frogs can swim. Indeed. Indeed. True crime JFG edition. No shit. Oh my God.
It's not, there's no secret coming out that you guys are hearing. It might be secret from a public perspective, but it's all things that the feds have been knowing for a couple of days.
Let me ask.
Love to talk to the RCMP about this, like totally off the record, and find out what they really think is going on.
Right. I'm very curious because he says there, and he almost says another thing. He stops himself, but he says, "I talked to her 2 days later," and then he starts to say that she texted her family. That I know that's what he was going to say there,
yeah,
because it's mentioned in the text or the tweet that we read that she'd been in touch with her family. Did she call her family? I bet you she didn't.
I bet it was all text, and it was strangely worded well. It didn't involve a lot of drool. So, not buying it.
How much you want to bet that call was to a house phone?
Yeah.
Where
it
you
didn't
can
sound like it was from a basement hostage area at all.
Where you can say, because if it was cell phone to cell phone, somebody has to answer that cell phone.
Yeah.
But if you set up a machine that can record, you can call it, the machine kicks off and it counts as the call going through.
Yes.
So the last message that she sends me in June, 2 days after leaving.
I'm sorry. Did you just say that the last message she sent you was in June?
Yes. She went missing in the middle of June, and nobody reported it until a few days ago.
JFG, thank you. Oh, I got to come over here to read this one because it's written in accent, Jack.
Oh, God.
I'm going to fuck this one up horribly.
It'll be funny, though.
Thank you so very much, JFG. Is it still burying if she ate most of the dirt? I did my best. Thank you so much for the donation.
And it had been apparent. I think I may have been in contact for a couple of times during these 2 days. So I was sure that she was progressing through whatever.
You just told us a moment ago that she called you 2 days after and that's the first contact. And now I'm pretty sure I had more. All right, look.
You're thinking again.
I have no proof that JF Garapi killed a potato. But I'm leaning that way.
It's more and more convincing as he talks.
No one in chat says it was not him. It was a one-armed man. No, it was some Puerto Rican guy.
It was a one-armed Puerto Rican guy.
That fucker's up in Canada now.
Yeah, he's a busy dude.
A trip she wanted to do. I knew that she was still alive.
JF, that's a weird thing to say. I knew that she was still alive. Not I know that she's still alive, or it's just the way he's saying all of this.
Yeah, it's not helpful or convincing. It just sounds like you probably murdered that chick.
She sleeps with the Trouts, man.
The pregnant Trouts?
Yes. It was a one-armed ma'am. Stop it.
But 2 days after leaving, she says, I have changed my plans. I will not hold my promise toward you. I will not be reachable.
What?
Yes, that sounds like the exact kind of wording I would expect from a potato. I've changed my plans. I will not be reaching out to you. Yeah, no, gets shadier and shadier.
I wonder how many different locations that electronic signal, because remember, that means that he's talking about a cell phone and not just finding somewhere. I don't know if Canada still has any payphones, but using anybody's, even another person's cell phone. This would be her cell phone. That's why I brought up the solar charger earlier. If you were going to carry this on for months, like say you did it in June, and over the next several months you keep sending yourself texts from her, you'd have to have that phone charged, which there's only one real way you can do that, and it's to leave the phone somewhere, go home, come back, take the phone, move it somewhere else, and do it again.
Yeah.
Not that I've ever thought about doing this kind of shit. I have a lot of free time, Jack.
Oh, it happens.
But literally, it's only 2 days, and first you tell us that's the only time, and then it's like, oh, maybe she did it before. That phone has to move, and you have to keep it charged. So, JF, you didn't plan very well to kill your potato.
Well, it might have been on the impulse kind of thing. Like he's like a crime of passion. Like, oops, I broke my potato.
Yeah. Thank you, JB. Look, we've heard this guy say some really disturbing shit about women in the past.
Oh, yeah.
Especially related to his exes. This guy is insane. Whether he actually killed this chick, he did. I don't know. But just knowing him and all of the stuff we've seen before from him, I would absolutely believe this guy murdered someone.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally plausible. Probable. Yeah, I don't know. My opinion would be that it's quite likely he killed her, but I don't have any evidence for that. Just it's a gut feeling from what I've seen so far.
For me, it's not. I wouldn't even say a gut feeling. It's just the way he's been acting and everything. It's based on experience of these kind of cases.
Yeah, the more he talks, the worse it looks too.
Thank you, JB. Listening to Stone Temple Pilots plush now. When the dogs, I don't know this song. When the dogs begin to smell her, have to Jack. Thank you so very much.
Thanks, JB.
And Cryptic, thank you. She's coming back as the Grudge Woman.
Oh my God.
Ugh. All right, take us out here.
She's coming back as a hot Asian. What?
and it's like, okay. She says, I have a new plan. And I'm like,
really?
does your...
I have a new plan. It's potatoes.
I have a new plan.
I have a plan.
I'm gonna throw this other link into chat. I don't think this is the full stream, but it's a lot longer than what we just watched. And in it, he talks about having been woken up by the police that day.
Yes.
So, yeah, he's under investigation, as he should be. Look, even if he didn't do it, he should be under investigation just for how he said all that shit. Out of nowhere, she decides to buy.
They always
go ahead.
No, they always look to the spouse or partner first.
Oh, true. But his story is that out of nowhere, she decides to buy a bunch of camping equipment, go off into the woods like Grizzly Adams, and keep in touch with him. But 2 days later, she calls him and texts him several times to tell him, sorry, I changed my mind about all that legal paperwork. Why are you bringing up legal paperwork? But all this legal paperwork because, quote, she owns a lot of stuff. And then she's like, nah, I changed my plans. You can't reach me. Just keep my shit.
That's kind of weird.
Thank you, Ragnarok. If my wife disappeared, I'd be fucking losing it. True. And I wonder if he talked back in June about her leaving.
I highly doubt it.
Silver, thank you for the membership. I appreciate it. Here's to hoping I don't miss too much of the show. I have to go to bed. Have a good stream. I really am wrapping up, but since you did bring Garapy back up, I was like, fuck it. Let's look at some of that stuff. You guys tell me. Give me a 1 if you think it's suspicious. Give me a 2 if you think his story makes any goddamn sense. Especially the part she disappears in June, and he's just like, I mean, maybe in October I'll check. I'll tell people.
I'm not going to worry for several months until it looks suspicious and the cops are beating on my door. This is, by the way, a big story in Canada. Like this, there's headlines on this. It's amazing how much coverage this is getting.
I'm just shocked that he thought, look, if you didn't do anything, you shouldn't be bringing it up at all. Like, no, she went camping and told me to fuck off, basically. I haven't seen her since. I don't know what to tell you. How did he get caught? Well, how did the disappearance get reported?
It was a concerned citizen, is what's being said, which means it's probably somebody that doesn't like him. Or
it's Kraut. Kraut and T noticed she hadn't been in the videos for a while.
I noticed that his girlfriend is AWOL.
Nobody's seen her. Could you do a safety check?
Academics, please respond.
Jean-Francois. Yeah, fuck this guy. He's a piece of shit. And now apparently, look, this is the guy that for a long time there were arguments because he preyed on a retarded girl. That's why we make the jokes about him being a potato lover.
Yeah.
He preyed on a retarded girl and got into a legal fight with her family when they're like, she has the mental capacity of a 9-year-old and he's trying to knock her up.
That was not this potato either. No, that was a different one.
Different potato. And if you read the court stuff about it, it is disturbing as fuck.
Yeah, it's a bit weird.
Oh my God. And you take that in connection with this, and it's just like, yeah, he probably killed her. I am sorry for her. I'm wondering.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, because he was really big on he needed to start a family.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it turned out like she was sterile, so he's like, got to get a new potato. That's more of a turnip than a potato.
Doesn't he have a kid with somebody else?
Did they actually make a kid? I don't remember that part. I know that there was a fight about. Oh yeah, didn't he have a kid? I think you're right with the Asian
Pretty
chick.
Sure,
right?
there's a kid. I don't know if it's with this tart or the other one, or a third victim.
It's a third person. Because they got into a big legal battle over it, if I remember correctly.
Wow.
Yeah. So.
See, I never liked this guy, and
nope.
Now I have a good reason not to.
He's a tato fucker, and now a potential murderer.
Yeah. Fucking.
All right, another poll. Give me a 1 in chat if you'd be shocked that he's actually a murderer. If you're shocked that he would kill a woman, let me know. Jean-Francois. Yeah.
Jean-Francois.
I can't believe that he did that stream. Do they not have lawyers up there in Canada?
Oh, he's one of those people that thinks he's smarter than everybody, so he doesn't need no lawyer.
Yeah, just shut the fuck up, man. Just shut the hell up.
If he did it, I hope he rots in hell. But
me too.
We'll see.
I hope they offer him suicide as an option to jail.
If it would be a solution, as Ozzy said.
It should be pretty easy to trace where he dropped her off and where the phone calls came from.
You would think so.
Well, if nothing else, he should be able to tell him where he dropped her off. And maybe he's thinking, and again, this is operating under the assumption that he did it. Maybe he's thinking, by now, any evidence of me actually dropping her off would have been washed away by the summer rains. You shouldn't kill people, JF. Especially not retarded people dumb enough to have sex with you.
Yeah. Well,
JB says, I'm surprised Andy hasn't been swallowed by PPP whole yet. I mean, look, Andy, I've never had a major problem with Andy. He needed a lot of help there for a while.
Yeah.
He is always hooked up. And sorry, when he was with Chris, things were fine. But ever since then, everyone he hooks up with to do shows and shit are just douchebags. Just absolute douchebags. And I include PPP in that.
I don't know enough about PPP. The first time I've ever watched Kino Casino, the most I've ever seen it was like clips or a few minutes here and there. This was the longest I've ever watched them, and I'm undecided. I don't know enough about the guy.
That dude just looks like he smells like ass and urine.
He does seem to enjoy being shirtless lately, which is pretty horrific sight. But the other day he was painted up like a pumpkin from the screenshots I saw on Twitter. I was like, well, that's nightmare fuel. But I mean, they seem to be doing pretty well with this show, and they did a very in-depth stream on this on Kick. So,
well, I'm more likely to just go watch the JF Garrity one because I like Andy. I can't take PPP. That dude, he thinks he is a lot smarter than he is.
Yeah.
Andy at least knows his intellectual limitations. Andy's just there to laugh, and PPP actually thinks he's smart. It's hard to watch. Anyway, guys, we're gonna wrap up there. I'm probably gonna go watch JF Garapi's full stream if I can find it. Because for fuck's sake, dude, it sounds like you killed your I don't even know if it's wife or just girlfriend.
I think it's his wife, which would make more sense because then if he did kill her, he would get all the property.
Well, but that's what he's like, we got to do paperwork and stuff. So if they were married, it should just come to him.
Well, if she's leaving him, he'd want it all in his name, I imagine.
Yeah.
How the fuck do you spell Garapi?
I don't remember. Hang on. I was looking him up to try to find the thing. Oh, here's JFG Tonight. Is this the one he did? Nope, that streamed 9 months ago. And then we have JFG Overtime. Nope. Now, JFG Tonight is him, but it's not linked to any other channels. Shit, I don't know where. If anybody has the full video, let me know. Hit me up in DMs. Guys, thanks for coming out and watching. A weird night, man. Aiden Paladin and JF Garapi come up in the same stream in 2023, almost 2024.
Secular. Everything is secular.
Bit of a flashback.
Thank you, Keldrick. It's neither. It's his house plant.
Well, not anymore. Now she's fertilizer.
Well, he didn't water her enough. Wow.
Thank you.
I don't know, man. The world's a weird place lately.
Thank you for the donations, guys. Really, really do appreciate it. You guys are awesome. You help us get this done. I'm not going to be one of those people who tells you we wouldn't do this without your financial support, but it does make it a lot easier to do this. Jack, anything you'd like to show?
Yeah, I haven't done anything today. So I was busy all day. I had to cut some branches down. It was a pain in the ass. Hurt my back. But thank you for the donations. Your support means everything to us. It really does. It's how we eat. So we do appreciate all the tips you give us. And you guys are awesome. And thanks for putting up with us talking about an idiot talking to his idiot uncle. And
that was funny, though.
A potato slayer.
Oh, potato slayer. He should get that tattooed on his forehead.
Yeah. What was the nickname I gave him? It should be
the
retard strangler.
Is that what?
Yeah, or alternately the potato smasher. I
Oh,
memorialized those in DMs, so I came up with this moniker if he takes those.
I got one from Jack the Peeler. That's historical, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're going to wrap up here, Jack. Thanks.
Come on.
Thanks for joining me, my friend.
Always glad to be here, dude.
Everybody, have a wonderful night. We will talk to y'all next time.
Bye, everybody.
Don't murder your retarded girlfriend / wife. It's not nice to do. Did you use a knife? That's horrible.